Hello, and welcome everyone to BPL Season 8 once again. My name is Biscuit, and right next to me is my other caster, Leapfrog. How are you doing today?
We're chilling. I'm excited. First time this season I'll be on Bad Pachimari League. It's been a while. I think it's been like a year or so, but I've been traveling, doing some stuff for fighting games, but I'm back here at home, ready to do some more Overwatch. So, Biscuit, I know you got to cast some matches last night. How have the matches been?
Oh, they've been very exciting, I will say that much. Sadly, we only had one match. A big highlight was that we only had one of them in C League, but it went down to the wire. Like literally as close as it would have been, like 2-2. Like last one was like a big C9. Very exciting. So watch the VOD for that if available. But now, Leapfrog, now that you're back into Overwatch, into BPL, we have a very busy schedule. BPL Season 8 definitely getting a little bit exciting. And today we do have a very good match. Caladrius versus Echo Knights is one we're going to be casting today, followed by Hongsa versus Hidden King. Same casters, same production team, same everything. Then later on, Demonetized versus Yatagarasu, and Snowdrop versus Ametori to close it off. So 4 full hours of BPL. If you like Overwatch, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, you better swipe left right now because there's going to be plenty of matches coming at you. All these matches tonight will be 1st to 2, so they'll be, I don't want to say quick, but they're a lot quicker than your typical 1st to 3 matches. But like I said, we'll start off with the Echo Knights and Caladrius. And we'll start off, of course, with the actual rosters themselves, who is actually playing. I recognize a few of these names. I've done, SPCS and, Lights Out League, International Overwatch League. So a few of the names do look familiar, but for most part, they're all new faces for me.
Oh, don't worry. These are you would be half right. Lots of new faces and lots of old ones. Cynix, Hudson, Tekugen, definitely already like standards of the league. Try cannot be left behind either. Cynix, I do gotta note, a player for Team Ireland, particularly in for like Overwatch World Cup. Hudson, notable A-League player, crazy DPS, so today we're in for a treat. But that does not mean that Echo Knights is left behind at all. And in this case, I will say a little bit more new faces for me, as we were talking about. Doesn't mean, though, that they're bad at all. Globster, Losaru, and Nyansa pop out to me definitely on this roster.
But yeah, definitely a good variety of teams, variety of players. I've seen a lot of teams having those flex roles here and there, but I feel like, having that anchor tank really does help out a ton for a lot of these teams. Having that focal IGL makes things a little bit easier when it comes to building around your tank, right? But having, people can kind of tag in and out does help out a little bit. I know, for me personally, I'm great at, Hazard and like Winston and stuff like that. Just God forbid, don't put me on the D.Va. So we probably have the same situation when it comes to these teams as well.
No, I feel you. And the rosters, as we were saying, very, very varied. Lots of availability, specifically for what people can play. There are some people that can play tanks, some people that can play support, but all of them have some experience on the roles that they're in. So we're definitely in for a match that's going to be exciting, but it's for sure going to be close. And talking about standings, something that we do gotta note, Leapfrog, a lot of these teams have had a little bit of a struggle at the beginning of the league, right? Not a lot of wins, not a lot of losses. We're not talking about bad teams. I don't want to say that at all. But we don't have, for example, Black Crown, right, on the table, who's 3-0, 6-1 on the map differential, or Odin, who hopefully today can continue their winning streak. So Caladrius and Echo Knights fighting for this top to middle position on the standings. So very important match though. For sure.
Yeah, obviously, you can see in the standings itself that they're actually tied. So the winner of this match will easily be able to overtake their opponent. And Whale Shark, a little bit further down behind them, so I don't think they have to worry too much about the opponents behind them. But again, I think the main opponent you have to focus on is right here and right now. I know you have some more matches set ahead for the rest of the season, but of course, this one, pretty important. Everybody's kind of 1-1. So at that point, if you don't win this match, you're going to fall into that 1-2. You don't want to be too far behind your opposition. And, only starting off on week 3, there's plenty of time to recollect yourself.
And we're not talking about like elimination just yet, but that doesn't mean that the stakes are low necessarily. Going into, like, for example, playoffs, a lot of these seedings are going to be determined by how you did early in the season. So you're not eliminated just yet, but it will matter in the future. And you never know. What if I won one more game and I had a slightly easier matchup, but no time to worry about the future? Let's talk about the now, just like we were saying. Kiriko ban coming in from Caladrius. Kiriko, as dominant as ever, 120 headshot by a support from across the map will always be important. And that's not even the best part. You have Susu, you have Rush, incredible approach tools that you cannot be undervalued. So good ban from Caladrius if they were not planning on playing it. Echo Knights, though, still debating a little bit.
Yeah, obviously with the Kiriko ban kind of sets the tone early, like, hey, we're just going to try to make sure we... Oh, and then the Shiran's actually... Shion's going to come up immediately afterwards. Maybe they had scouted out one of their players kind of dabbling on the newest character added to the game. I think she's been a welcome addition to the actual game. And of course, having the motorcycle does help out a ton when it comes to the coolness factor of the actual... the character as a whole.
You wouldn't be wrong. Flex DPS players have definitely had a lot of fun with Shion, who has a lot of mobility. A bike that does what, like 120 if you run over someone and throw the bike at them. Really get engaged. They're all not the best. Can be shut down rather easily, but still a tool that you gotta be aware of. But Leapfrog, the bans are in. New Queen Street is going to be our first map. We're gonna be moving into New Junk City right after that, guaranteed. Should we need it, if it goes onto the wire, Dorado is gonna be on the table with a map to break the tie, but we don't see a lot of ties around here. Caladrius, Echo Knights, Shion ban, very strong character. He's like we were saying, a welcome addition, but a little bit scary in the right hands. And shout out, you can see in the top left, to my fellow caster, my producers, my observers, everyone that can make this happen.
Yep, appreciate it. Make our jobs a little bit easier. But nothing's easy for their opponents. And I was kind of thinking about it. I was saying, with the Kiriko ban, you kind of setting that, letting your opponents know that you're willing to go for a dive. And obviously for Tekujin going for the potential Winston pick, I think we're going to play super aggressive, super aggro. Echo is going to have one hell of a night to try to counteract this dive comp. No, it's going to be the Reinhardt tried and true. Let's go full send.
Right, I love that Tekujin is committing onto not the most optimal tank, but the most aura tank for sure. Globster on a good matchup right here. Echo Knights a little bit slow. They do have the Lucia though, so permanent advantage when it comes to speed.
Okay, you see early on, just taking in some poke damage, slowing things down. Globster is already playing the Ramatra, so it is a natural counter for that Reinhardt. Gonna wall him off.
A little bit of Ryan
super low.
Wall getting walled off, but does find the pick onto PK Nessie. No more Sojourn's gonna make their range fights a little bit slower. But Hageshi in a very tough situation that you cannot get out of. There's gonna be no ice block, nothing to get you out of there. A swap coming in for Echo Knights after a first fight.
I wonder if they're going to commit to it. I don't necessarily think it's the wrong comp, but yeah, you see their entire team composition is changing around. Don't want to fall too far behind in terms of meterage in push, because you see sometimes these pushes can go very, very long.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you don't want to give a fight that you lose, and you're also losing meters in that same process. Look at this Ramatra pushing in. Beautiful Ravenous Vortex is going to find the pick of the tree, but Globster overextending, being punished. And being down your tank is a lot worse than being down your support. Tekujin still holding on to the point that it seems like Echo Knights just have to give this space, Leapfrog.
Yeah, and you see it stinks too, because everybody on Caladrius was super low on. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of sustain running the Mizuki and the Juno, but either which way, they're still going to be able to secure the checkpoint number one. Empty winds up falling. Hageshi does get an equalizer pick, but everybody's so low on Echo Knights.
A big trade over there, but Caladrius having a little bit of trouble right here. Cynics fighting for their life as Hageshi is diving the backline, but just as you were saying, the checkpoint is found. Hageshi goes down. No more DPS on the side of Echo Knights, and you lose the flank pressure. You lose the ability to make picks happen. Tekujin crashing onto the bot, but it won't matter. Empty goes down, and this is just another win for Caladrius. No big wins, but consistent small wins are giving them the points.
Yeah, and that's how I was scratching my head. I think the Mei pick wasn't a bad option. I think they're going to try to... I would want to go for more damage, just because, again, they don't have the sustain. They don't have the way to kind of keep the Reinhardt alive if he gets low. But with a ton of ultimates lined up here, it's going to be a tough fight for Echo Knights.
I like the window, making it really hard to engage, but it doesn't matter. Real Dog is going to go down, jumping a little bit too high. Being found in the crosshairs of Cynex is not where you want to be. Tekujin moving in, but just holding on to the point for now. Hageshi runs out of fuel. No more gas, no more blinks, no more recalls. And Echo Knights loses another fight there's just no signs of life from them.
Oh man, Globster's still just staggered. I was gonna say 4 ultimates lined up and ready. They are gonna utilize the Shatter and the Blade at the same time. Cynics just cleaning up every single target that walks out of spawn, and now we're approaching at maybe a full cap potentially. Echo Knight's got to find a way to secure and get some time to stagger. They get it at the very last moment, but it seems like it's going to be futile.
Nessie's going for the overload, but look at that! The shrine makes it so impossible to engage them to a point where you can't even shoot them. And Leapfrog, I don't want to be mean, but it felt like Echo Knight just wasn't on the map. Caladrius they just escorted the bot beginning to end.
Yeah, I mean, it was very one-sided first map to start us off here. Caladrius, again, just a pedal to the metal offense. I was genuinely surprised to willing to run the Reinhardt without a sustain, whether that be the Ana or like a Baptiste. Similar to how Echo Knights was running, just full pressure, 110% on offense, and guess what? It paid off successfully, because now you're already halfway done with this first map.
Yeah, and I can't even spot a point in which Echo Knights was able to even fight them, right? It's just you're consistently down a person, and in these organized games where everyone has to be on the same page, pushing together, you just don't have your entire team. Every time someone is going down, Hageshi overextends a little bit, punished by Cynex, right? Then Globster finds the trade onto tree, but then you're giving a support for your tank. You don't have any more pressure, right? So at the end of the day, it's just a game that goes downhill slowly but surely. No big wins, no like big team kill, but it doesn't matter. You don't need that to win the game.
Hey, death by 1,000 cuts is still a death, so you have to make sure you're attentive to your team's positioning, your team's pressure, and what your overall comp's going to be. And you can see it kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. I think the comp that they're running at the start really was the right pick, but just kind of got a little frustrated, got a little staggered, and decided they want to shift things up a little bit.
Yeah, and I do want to say, even though you saw a game that was indubitably like, it's just Echo, like Caladrius convincing win, that you can tell that they were all over the map at every point of the game. You cannot write off Echo Knights just yet. So a big thing to remember here is gonna be first to 2. So Caladrius 1 game away from securing a big win for their standings. But Leapfrog, we're moving on to New Junk City, and I don't think we're gonna see particularly different comps. We might still see some Lucio, some Juno, some Brush. Tekujin on the Rhine looked very, very solid. So I'm not expecting swaps, but you need something if you're Echo Knights to shift the tempo in your favor.
Well, I mean, you say you're not going to see a shift in comps, but I think a particular ban might be in order. Obviously, I don't want to say, Tekujin was doing everything for their team, but I think it did definitely help out having that stability and anchor with the Reinhardt being able to hold up a shield and just kind of secure an objective like that. So potentially we might see a ban on the Reinhardt for this next match.
Look to the Ram. It might be the Bastion for Cynex, who was looking very, very dominant, right? That turret form puts like a stop sign to any push that you want to do, and they didn't even die. Like, we cannot see the leaderboard right now, but we do have it right here, access for protection. No deaths, just 10 kills, perfect game from them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't really have to do anything crazy either. If you just stand behind your Reinhardt, you kind of let them do whatever they want. And instead, they're going to ban the Xion. So that, to me, tells me that Echo Knights were potentially going to try to counteract and maybe do a dive of their own, just so that way they can kind of get a tank in and out, whether that be the Doomfist, maybe the Mauga even, just to play that really aggressive straight sprint to the backline type of style. But, Tracer ban and retaliation could have put a halt on that.
Yeah, I guess she was not looking bad. Putting a little bit of pressure, never quite finding the pixels yet, but again, I do have to blame it on like just a general like a lack of communication. It seems like the team was very, very spread out, going on fights without their full team. And the Tracer, even though it was not like killing everyone on your team, still very annoying. And Mizuki, just a solid ban. I don't know when this character is going to stop being as good as he is, but having the ability to go on flanks with a crazy amount of speed and a TP back to safety alongside a chain that amplifies damage, it's just too much, right? It enables some very degenerate flanks, and I think Echo Knights is very justified in banning it, especially when I think they weren't playing it. Lucio is going to be on the table, so the Reinhardt comp might be good alongside Kiriko. So moving into this next game, we might see some different comps here.
All right. But again, New Junk City, I feel like for most of these teams have been a pretty okay map for them. I think for most of them, the control hasn't been, at the top of their list in terms of success rate, but you know, if I'm looking at the match history, they do have a pretty close scoreline for all of their control or flashpoint maps. So definitely still have an opportunity to bring it back if you're an Echo Knights fan. But we're gonna see if they can make it happen here. Map number 2, New Junk City. Again, it's only a 1-2 between our matches tonight, so they don't have any more chances. They gotta lock it in right now if they want to find a win.
Fight or die, and you really don't want to die and have another loss on your record. The season is going along kind of fast. Like, sure, it starts and you think it's a couple of weeks of games, it might be 5, might be 6, but we're almost halfway there, Leapfrog, if not halfway already. So you need to start getting your wins too. And once again, thank you, production, for these beautiful shots. And I love the music for New Junk City, definitely getting us hyped. Echo Knights hovering the manga. You cannot believe these teams. As a caster, they tend to troll you a lot with what they're gonna pick in here, so I can't trust it just yet. The Maga wouldn't be the worst pick in the world, but it does make me a little bit nervous. Famously, it doesn't work that often.
Yeah, you know, it tricks me up once in a while. You saw Tekujin definitely hit me with the 180 juke, but I think it's legitimately the Mauga here. Yeah, and I was going to say, that way you can kind of rush in, go straight to the back line, straight to the hearts, and get out successfully. So let's see if we can make it happen this time around. Admiral back on the May. Let's go.
We can't just see if you're gonna make it happen. You have to make it happen if you're Echo Knights. This Maga going wide, finding a couple of bullets onto Mac Truck, but it's not gonna be a lot. Echo Knights, you need some kind of counter to Pharah. This is not the worst point to be pelted by Pharah, but look at this. The rotations are already happening. Caladrius putting out this speed beam, and this is your one time to try and make something happen against Echo Knights. Rushing in, finding a big stomp onto this Genji. Do we get the pick? No, that Susu is going to deny it. Sorry, on the Shion. And this is just a lot of health that you're taking. Globster, big step onto Cynex, and the fight is over before I can even think about the point unlocking.
Yeah, exactly why they wanted to try to get rid of the Kiriko on the first round was so that way they can avoid getting cleansed when they want to make a big stomp and a big play like that. Globster able to play up front the entire time. You can see them playing a very fast comp to retaliate, though. Matchup already getting a pick to start us off, and we're right back in it.
Talking about fast, that pick onto empty happens so quickly that Echo Knight doesn't even have time to back up. You don't have the speed, you don't have the resources, and this is going to be a hard fight. Mac Truck gets a little bit low, but I don't think that you're in risk of dying. Big stop!
Wow.
Shit doesn't even get to pin in. It doesn't matter. Admiral goes down the Susu. Last ditch effort, and if you're Echo Knights, I think you want to die on point, but it's not going to happen. The point goes to Caladrius.
Unbelievable. I mean, that was like a literal get down, Mr. President moment. I mean, just stomping down right before Admiral was immediately going to get chopped up by the Reinhardt. But either which way, making the swap over to Echo, now you have an airborne battle.
Yeah, Admiral doing this for the counter pick very obviously. Mac Truck is going to have Barrage, and if you're Echo Knights, you really want to make sure that Mac Truck is not in a terrible position. They're going up so high, and you just can't walk out. You're threatening a one-shot. The Kitsune comes out of Echo Knights, declaring that they want to fight. This is the 1v1 happening in the backline. Cynex comes out the victor, and Mac Truck still threatening a Barrage. Big stop!
Wow.
Maga doesn't need to fly to put you down into the ground. This cage coming out onto Tekujin, and the hammer's not enough damage to kill Globster. I think this is a big blunder from Caladrius, investing some really big ultimates just to lose a fight that wasn't necessarily close, Leapfrog.
Yeah, it was definitely futile ultimate, but at the same time, it was one of those things. If he was able to kind of survive that ordeal, maybe they could have turned things around, especially with Mac Truck having access to a barrage. Maybe he could have found a way to get that pick, but 70% and counting, that means it's a do or die moment here on Flashpoint, because you already know how fast it ticks.
No, exactly. 15% happening, and if you're Caladrius, you have to make something happen. You have Beam, you have Ring, and you have to pop it now, I think. But the fight is just so spread out. Echo Knight's not giving them a clear angle to fight just yet. The barrier comes out, and this is going to be a big engage from Globster. Barrage showing through so much
Nessie,
but Nessie is going to find the vengeance pick onto Shogun. Tekujin is not left behind with a big hammer going to Empty's head. And this is 70% and ticking.
Yeah, I see you guys are chatting about the World Cup stuff. I was about to go crazy. If Nessie was able to get a clutch pick, I would have turned into, a Spanish cast and go, Leo Nessie. But either which way, we were able to trigger overtime potentially for Admiral. Made very close to a duplicate, but unfortunately not going to be able to find it. In this first point, he's still going to the way of Caladrius.
Forced to touch really quickly, and honestly, I kind of can't believe that Echo Knights didn't win that. Like, some really big fight wins. Lower Shatter, the Barrage kind of went into a bad fight, no Beam, and still taking the point for Caladrius. Still, Echo Knights showing signs of life. Copy is coming up alongside Kitsune Rush.
Okay, now the real question is, how is Globster going to be able to engage here? If they kind of just hold that high ground, it's going to be super hard for Malga to get into this fight. So it's going to be super crucial for Admiral to get this duplicate off, but Empty actually going to pick themselves.
You were wondering how they were going to do it, and that's exactly how you do it. A flanking loser is going to find 2 picks. Globster is not going to be left behind, fighting 2 of their own. And this is just the last member being the tank. A big stagger for Echo Knights, putting Tekugen on a very bad wave respawn. And this is going to be the point ticking. You were wondering how, and Empty just had to do it himself.
I guess I shouldn't just ask. I should just sit there and watch like a good little boy, and then I can wind up finding out all the answers. Empty getting caught by a first fire strike, but it's all good because we can still find a way to re-engage. And we got Kitsune Rush, so I would imagine Riddle Dog going to try to be aggressive with this one here.
30% and ticking. This is a big percent going for Echo Knights. A little bit of an overcommit, I think, from Globster, but they do manage to get out. The cage started to come out, and look at this. Tekugen is just fishing for a shatter, but no one is in sight. It's almost like Echo Knights just disperses instantly. There's going to be the Juno copy coming out. Maybe you can get the beam. I think that's what they're going for. Another brush, and no stop just yet. Look at that big shatter. Finds two picks as well, but PK Nessie won't be left behind. 2 people down for Caladrius, but they're still winning the fight.
You know, I didn't want to say it was a mistake, but it's definitely a decision of all time. I definitely would have tried to go for a Reinhardt pick at that point, just so you can make sure you can either, one, play aggressive with your additional tank on the field, but then also you can kind of help that can give you the extra ult charge percentage. It takes a long while to get your ult as a support.
And I do think the Echo copy would have been better invested trying to use it to live rather than go for some proactive engagement. There's a Kitsune though, no time to talk about the last fight because everyone is in a cage. One of the chaotic trademark Overwatch fights.
Goodness gracious!
So low! Echo Knights running over Caladrius. You got put in the cage and there's nowhere else to go but back to your spawn.
Yeah, and I think Nessie wound up popping the Setsuriki spree as well, so able to kind of clean up the fight. And that's a cool little spot. I didn't know you could sit up there and regain a ton of fuel, but you see Tekugen going for the last second touch, getting booped everywhere like a pinball machine, barely able to trigger overtime, and they're going in this fight.
They managed to touch, but I don't think it's going to matter. Matchup, though. Good opening pick onto Nessie. Admiral is going to find another one onto this Genji. And this Kiriko, you're just looking, scrambling for a TP, but I don't think it's going to happen. Rocket's coming your way. Climb that wall all you want, but it won't matter. Admiral, good pick onto Beancan, who's going to be late for this next fight. And it's still happening, though. This fight seems like it's still ongoing, and maybe... No, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is Echo Knight's point, evening it up to a 1-1.
Yeah, Globster is doing phenomenal with these sprint jumps, man. Landing directly on every single opponent they want to try to capitalize on. I mean, whether it's the Wrecking Ball or either of the supports, he's feel like he's at 100% accuracy. So he's got to keep that going here. We're only tied up here on the 3rd point of Flashpoint.
Just like you were saying, I think I should have just sat back and learned because Globster making me look silly for doubting the manga pick. Look at this. The point is going to open into 10 seconds. This is your ring. The only chance that you have to engage since you don't have a Lucio. This beat is going to give them a lot of HP though. Should anything go bad, Empty pops it, thinking they're going to die. This might be a little bit of an overcommit. The beam is coming out to counteract this portal. A lot of damage incoming, but Admiral is the first to die. The rush comes out from Cynex. Doesn't quite kill anyone, but puts a lot of pressure onto Echo Knights, and they just don't have enough support to absorb it. I'm sorry, Leapfrog, but this point is going to Caladrius.
100%. No matter how much you plead, no matter how much you wish, it ain't gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change. There's so much HP on the field. Again, with the shield on top of that, even if one Tekugen gets low, we just hold up a shield and just really mitigate a lot of damage, making Globster almost impossible to get any type of damage out on the field. Again, the nerfs to Lucio beat makes things a lot harder to stay engaged in the fight, but it doesn't matter. We're going right back in.
Doesn't matter because we're stamping on top of Tekugen and putting out the barrage. Oh my god, Admiral has it reflected right into their face. Echo Knights, that's the best ult that you have for that fight, and yet you don't even get a pick with it. Matchup on top of their game, recognizing, hey, the only way I lose is if someone gets one shot by Pharah. I'm just gonna shoot it right back at them.
Yeah, and it was in the cage fight on top of that too. That was a huge win for Caladrius. They are now in a great spot because now Matchuk has access to the blade. So, I mean, honestly, just got to bait out Suzu and you're golden.
Yeah, and just think about the blade and how much damage it's going to have. You have nothing to absorb it with, other than like the best Susu in the land to try and absorb it. This rush is gonna come back from the Maga Mac truck, engaging but not quite knowing who's they're gonna go on. Admiral is so far away, they managed to get the pick, but that's most of your blade gone, and you just have empty and PK Nessie marking you. It's gonna be the pick for Mac Truck. Beancan evening the fight out. There's gonna be no more Susu, no more papers coming your way to heal you, but there's just so much damage. The Susu's gonna extend their life for a little bit longer, but Beancan is ultimately going down. A Juno up in the air finds empty, but it doesn't matter. Staggering yourself a lot is gonna make it hard to touch again, but still, the point good for Echo Knights.
Yeah, already at 99%, so now it just turns into a one-fight win scenario. We've got a couple big ultimates coming up for Cal. I mean, they have the access to Riku Spree. The Blink Shatter is huge. Finds the connection on the two only people they need to pick here, and that's going to do it for our third point.
You know, it may not be Valorant, but sometimes you gotta be aware of these corners. You gotta clear everything, because you never know when a big, angry German man is just waiting to slam you onto the ground. Cynix puts an end to Admiral's attempt to touch, and this is match point leapfrog. Echo Knights is not looking bad, but such a bad fight there. It's just so unlucky. You don't know that Tekujin is there, and you get slammed for it.
Yeah, just great awareness, great playmaking from Tekujin. I mean, to have the trigger discipline to not just rip it right off the moment you see somebody, it takes a big effort for their team, and they got to keep it going for one last point. And now, again, look at the ultimates that they have built up. I mean, this cage fight pretty much can be futile once we call Orbital Ray.
I think Globster is going to have to look for someone that they can ring solo. This is going to be it. The ring coming out from Shogun. The beat is going to keep Echo Knights alive just for a little bit longer. Do they stay on top of this fight, though? Globster bleeding out a little bit, but the HP from hitting all of these crits is a little bit of safety falling down. But Cynix is right there saying, hey, you know, I'm right here too. And they give them a little bit of value. Globster finds the pick onto Cynix, and honestly, this is looking like a lost fight for Caladrius. No more shield, no more Susu, no more beams. And the point goes to Echo Knights once more, showing signs of life.
Okay, that should have been a mistake. That was a big opportunity for Cal to be able to turn things around, but actually kind of benefited them because they wound up catching Cynix so super low off, you know, trying to regen health, maybe trying to find out a health pack. But either which way, it's a win for Echo Knights. They did wind up, you know, winning through the artillery or the orbital ray, but now they have to try to win through another support ultimate. Can they win on this Kitsune Rush?
Two big support ultimates invested by both of the teams, just like you were saying. The Kitsune Rush comes out, it's straight on the point, and Globster wants no part of it. Running away, the point is going to flip. Maybe you don't want to give it to your Echo Knights, but it seems like there's no other choice. It falls down into Caladrius. The speaking Nancy find the pick, trying to land some hits up to the Juno, but it's not going to happen. Tekujin, though, ends up falling down, and without your tank, can you even win the fight? It looks like Actruck is fighting for it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Everyone is gone, and this blade gets no value.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They did flip it back over just for a couple percentage. That Kitsune Rush was huge from Beancan, but the sad thing is you don't win anything off it. Mac Truck giving up on the blade, going to the way of the Rocket, so now going to match the Pharah. He was on the Pharah a little bit earlier too, so he should be able to have both of his perks accessible.
Yeah, and you are very behind on ults, of course. Admiral probably gonna just linger above this doorway, right? And just look for a barrage as soon as they come out, because that's the only and the correct play. A 1v1 happening on the sidelines, but it's not gonna lead into anything. Riddle Dog is gonna Kitsune right into the guts of Caladrius, but nothing just yet. Beancan is back to safety. Globes are running back into point. Cal hoping not to give anything. Everyone is on fire. The cage fight comes out, and Admiral just finishing the pick onto Tekujin. This is gonna be a point for Echo Knight.
Yeah, we're going to the final point here on map number 2. Again, Echo Knight's life is on the line, so they need this final point just to stay alive in the series. And you see already for the metric. Let's go.
Dustale, I hope they're in chat watching what is happening right here, getting a shout out in chat. I will say Echo Knights looking really good, very disciplined from the front of Globster. I don't even get time to talk. Admiral opening with a pick onto Cynix is gonna make it really hard to contest the point, but it is just the beginning. It's gonna unlock in 15, and you will have enough time to hopefully come back and fight together.
Okay, so now I'm trying to think, like, what can Cal open up here? I mean, Tekujin can't really pull off a flank shatter now. He's got to find something big. This high ground is, you know, seemingly open for the taking, but it's just a matter of can his team actually capitalize on it. Cynix is really close to a Setsuriku spree, but not going to be able to build up enough in time before the fight starts.
I don't know how open it is. Oh my god, just falling on top of their head, Assassin's Creed style. Admiral running out of fuel, and Tekujin will punish them for it. There's just a big tank on point that you have to touch empty, using the beat to try and give them a second life, a second try at this fight, but the shatter gets them off the wall, puts Globster on the ground, and that's gonna be Echo Knights on the back foot.
Yeah, that was a really late beat from Empty, maybe trying to help turn things around, but Tekojin and Shogun assisting, that duo combination of ultimates was enough to kind of subdue the beat. Admiral actually taking care of Mack Truck, so now this is the time they want to capitalize.
That is a big loss to suffer if you're on the side of Caladrius. Losing your barrage, or your potential barrage, everyone is on fire. Good manga perfect. The barrage is gonna come out here. Surely no. Cynex looking to disengage. It is a very tricky fight to fight right there. Shogun is in the sky. No more Jets re-engaging with their ultimate. Finds one, finds two, finds three. Beautiful fight. Cynex, they don't need their duo to do what a DPS does.
Yeah, PK Nessie was not able to get their Setsuriku spree off better than Cynex, and I mean that might be the turning point for this last opportunity for them, because now we're already at 75% and counting. They have to find a way to trigger overtime and actually win the fight, and they don't have any ultimates to their name.
And you need something to do with the barrage. Oh, gets a little bit too excited, wants to touch, and honestly, it's just desperation. 5% are ticking. The barrage just sending Empty back to spawn. PK Nessie finds the pick, but it doesn't matter. This is gonna be Caladrius with a convincing 2-0.
Yeah, you saw it happen at the moment. As soon as Globster fell, that was pretty much lights out for any hope for their team. They didn't have any support ultimates that can kind of keep the rest of their team actually fighting in that moment. And Cal able to get a quick 2-0. Looking really, very close on that second map, but of course, the tone was already set from that push map.
Yeah, I do gotta say, I like what we were seeing from Econite, some very solid fights, but just the Maga during these last touch situations, you don't have a shield, you don't have armor, you don't have really anything like the other tanks have to keep yourself safe before you touch the point, and you just bleed out before you even get there. On top of that, you need to deal with a barrage, which is functionally a one-shot on anyone on the team, and you don't have anything anymore, right? You ran out of fuel. Last fight, you got completely ran over by Cynex with a beautiful rush. And honestly, Caladrius just showing us what solid play looks like. A good 2-0 to end their game day with.
Yeah, now they take the lead. So now, essentially, they're in second place. I mean, you have to realize that everybody was in that 1-1 little block of area. So at that point, you've secured your second place positioning in the actual standings in your particular league. So it helps out a ton with kind of setting the tone for the remaining matches of the season, and let your team know, like, hey, guys, look how close we are. We've got this. We got to keep playing like this. Keep playing with our heads, screwed on tightly.
Yeah, and look, you can see right here, the Alchemist bracket is changing a good amount. Caladrius is in second place, but we can't get excited.
It's crazy. They jumped from fifth to second. That's a big jump.
The only thing that hurts them is that it all depends on how the next couple of games pan out, right? I think Serial hasn't done their game just yet. Siren Song as well, but those are the only two teams that can change. They're no matter what, they're going from bottom 2 to top 3 in their bracket, and that is good news no matter which way you slice it. Leapfrog, I love what we saw from Caladrius today.
Yeah, again, if you play like that, I have no fear that you'll be able to make it through to playoffs. I'm wondering if he's going to keep playing that Reinhardt, because I feel like the Reinhardt really was a determining factor in their matchup. Because, I mean, sure, he wasn't getting these big... he had this one nice flank shadow that we were talking about the entire time, but for the most part, he was just doing his job, pinning in, making space for their team, holding shield when everybody got low, and let their team kind of stabilize.
Yeah, no, I think that the Reinhardt was a very big factor, particularly on that second point, where you win a really big fight and you need to get a snowball going off of it, but then the shatter happens on the most random flank. I wouldn't have thought about it, and then you lose two very important parts of your team, and the fight is kind of over. So I do want to say, other than Tekujin on the tank, I want to shout out Cynex, who was looking incredible throughout the entire series, right? I love
my gosh.
Big Shion.
It's so close.
Big Shion on your screen. But Cynex, just like Shion here, some massive plays. Just that rush at the end of the game, guaranteeing the map, even when their VPS partner was down, right? And they didn't even die on the first game. They were just getting picks, living, and showing them what Bastion can do.
Yeah, and essentially, it does help out a ton to play the tank when you have some DPS that were sticking to you like glue. And you saw throughout the entire time Cynex was, whether he was completely behind the shield and just lighting people up with 100% accuracy, or he was diving straight to the back line. It helped out a ton. So can't make it happen without some great DPS. So Cynex, definitely one of the focal points for their team also.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, a lot of space being made by Teku. Your supports are always like kind of living all of these fights, and you just are taking advantage of the space that is being created, and you just do what a DPS gonna do. You make space, get your big picks, and that's all that matters. Regardless of what we saw today, I do want to shout out Echo Knights. Looking good, not the best first game, but in that second one, definitely getting better. So do not write them off just yet. But Leapfrog, that was the first game of the day. We have a couple incoming right after this. On BPL 2 or off stream, I can't guarantee which one it is. We have Odin versus Noble Steed, Goblin Goobers versus Elvish Soul Knife, Chosen versus Freefall, and Nightwings versus Blue Rose to close it out. Lots of games happening today, Leapfrog. More than 8, almost.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many matches lined up ahead of you guys. For sure, the ones that are going to be on stream for today on this one is going to be up next is going to be Hongsa and Hidden King. So a lot easier name for me to pronounce, but then also another gigabanger of a match itself.
True. And, if you like what you saw today, you don't have too many plans, definitely tune into BPL because we have a lot of action incoming. Be sure to check out the B stream. Be sure to check out some of the other people streaming their POVs because there's a lot of games that are going to be really, really fun to watch. But we're going to cut into a little bit of a break, get a little bit of a breather before we move into this next exciting match. So don't go anywhere because BPL is going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BPL Season 8. My name is Biscuit, your caster for this game. To my side is Leapfrog, and Leapfrog, we have a lot of games today. We gotta go a little bit fast. There's a lot happening, a lot of action today.
Yeah, obviously we set a time aside, so we got to make sure we hit that 1 hour block window. I know some of these teams like to try and speed run, but as long as we start on time, I think that's the main part of it. But either which way, I hope one of the yellow teams wins. I already put in the chat, so hopefully get to see some. Oddly enough, they're both yellow teams and they both start with the letter H, so it's kind of a mixed bag. I haven't got to see either team, Hongsa or Hidden King. You can see the actual schedule itself. This is going to be one of our 4 matches. We saw Cal just completely obliterate Echo Kings in that first match, Swift 2-0. So we're going to have to see if this match here is going to be a little bit closer.
You can never leave behind the games that are happening later as well. Demonetized versus Yatagarasu, Snowdrop, and Ametori is also coming right after this one. But we would like to focus, of course, on the today. Just like we were saying, very exciting game we had at the beginning. It was a little bit lopsided, I would say. Caladrius winning 2-0, but it doesn't mean that it was not particularly close, particularly on the last map. That last map was really, really exciting. So let's hope that the yellow teams can do the very same thing. Moving on to rosters, though, I do want to talk a little bit in the future about this, but Hongsa is going to be our top team for the day. Will they take their first loss? We don't know just yet, but Hidden King looking to contest them as number 1 in their bracket and in their group.
Yeah, and again, I think this is one of the similar to the last match we had. They're very, very close in standings. So honestly, a win could kind of fluctuate how the standings go. They should still be number 1 seed considering they have the most matches played besides Flying, Blahar. But it's one of those things. Again, I think this match does mean a lot for the standings.
Yeah, and you never know how things are gonna end up swinging out. Just like we were saying, Hongsa will most likely prevail as number 1 team, but it doesn't mean that this could be a very important win to set the tempo for future games. Moving on to our rosters, we have Mara, Lux, Y6, EM, Basket, Ghosts, I want to say, and Riptide, which are players, some new, particularly Lux for me stands out as someone that I don't know just yet. But people like Riptide, Mara, EM, and Y6 have been in the league for what I want to say years now. So very solid core, very known players that they know how to play with each other for sure now.
100%. Yeah, I was gonna say I actually recognize Riptide and Lux and Mara and stuff like that. So that's how you know they've been around for a while. The fact that I could recognize it. It's been almost like a full year since I've been down here, and it's still nice to see the familiar faces. But let's go see the side of Hidden King, see if I can recognize any of those names. Yeah, I recognize a couple of them. Any names in particular that you stand out to you, Biscuit?
Perseus for sure. I think we've seen them in I want to say A-League a couple of times. I can't completely guarantee it, but at the very least always a B-League, A-League player that has always been very solid. Moon, I know them as a support player. A little bit surprised to see him on DPS. I actually can't recall what role they're off-rolling on, but I do know them. The rest, a little bit new to me. Friday stands out, but Yukino, Lucky, Memory, and Ricochet make up the rest of the core. I don't know them just yet, but I'm expecting to be surprised because the players that I do recognize, I know them to be solid, and I know them to be very good. Leapfrog. So we are in for a good match. Lots of known faces with some new ones mixed in.
Yeah, and you saw their favorite characters. Obviously, it's not a telling tale, but I mean, with that last match with Tekujin kind of running the Reinhardt, I feel like we're definitely going to start checking our corners from here on out, because you never know when Arena could be lurking in the back line.
Yeah, and you never know when that's going to end up losing you the entire point, because that's how it went for them. We have our maps already established. We're really starting on Runasapi, and Hongsa opens up our game with a Maven, which, if anything, I think I've seen Mei a lot. The 2 days that I've been casting, I've seen Mei, like literally all over the place. The character seems to be really solid. I can't pretend to be too familiar with the balance changes around her, but I do know that she's always been good into these brawl comps. You know, a wall behind your tank is always gonna make you sweat a little bit. It's always gonna get some cooldowns out. It's always gonna lead to a kill almost at some points, right? So Hongsa with a good ban, especially in a map that is very brawl favored.
Yeah, I definitely starting to see a resurgence in the Mei popularity. It's one of those things. I think the wall is, like you said, it's almost guarantees your team a pick, and that's why supports like Kiriko and the Baptiste are so important in that particular team comps, just because it kind of keeps your team actually alive in the fight, kind of gives you a second chance at hope, especially if you don't have the damage that can kind of obliterate the walls. Sometimes you'll see a lot of players kind of go for the Pharah pick and the Bastion to kind of circumvent the walls, whether that just be just destroying them or just kind of just going around them entirely.
Yeah, it shapes a lot of how your team is supposed to play, right? Because your tank will always be kind of like the victim. Like, you have to find a way to keep them alive, just like we were saying. People like Baptiste, of course, you pick them for the hop, but you still need something, and it's gonna make you react. So, just get that out of the way instantly. Hidden King with the Orisa ban. I feel like I haven't seen Orisa in a while. I've seen a lot of Maga, both C League, A League, and B League. Well, all leagues, really. Reinhardt, Sigma, Ram, but I haven't seen the Orisa at all. I wonder if this is a particular like a person ban, which it's never a bad shout, especially if you don't know what they're gonna play. But a little bit surprised to see it coming out.
No, 100%. Yeah, you already hit the nail on the head, Biscuit. That was definitely a targeted ban, because again, when did we ever see Orisa being played? It's definitely kind of a specialty character, one might say, just because of her lack of mobility. She does have access to twirl and stuff like that can help you get into a fight, but necessarily it's about backing out of it is kind of the question mark, and how you can do it safely without some of your crucial abilities and crucial util. So with that being said, I definitely feel that focused in on a particular player.
Yeah, and she's never going to be a bad pick, right? She's always going to have a lot of survivability. Going to be able to deny a couple of picks like Ramatra and Rhine. Not necessarily deny it fully, but it's going to make it hard to live. It's going to make some of these engagements really tough, because you're getting pushed out. There's like gold, right? Which is just a mountain of HP walking at you. So solid bans from both teams. I think we don't have anything particularly that is like super broken, that is like, hey, you need to ban it or pick it. This season definitely open to a lot of different picks and compositions. Xion seems to be a little bit popular, but I think it's just, she's good, she's fun, and it's all you need to play a character. Leapfrog, I want to say again, our map is going to be Runa Sapi to open us up with. It's going to be first to Hongsa and Hidden King fighting to see who's a better team, honestly, because Hongsa occupying the first spot, we're in for a banger for sure.
Oh, 100%. I love Runasapi as a map. It's one of the newer push maps they introduced into the game, and it's been a welcome stay for, at least in my opinion. I know my friends hate playing on push maps in general, but this is one of the more aesthetically pleasing, along with the actual map itself. Feels pretty balanced overall.
Yeah, and it introduced at the time in particular a good variety into push, which we didn't have too much of, especially because we didn't have a lot of you had a lot of legacy maps in Control and Hybrid and whatever, all these old types of game modes, but having something new, it's always fun to play with. But it seems like our rosters are finalized. It's gonna be Hongsa again versus Hidden King today, first to two. We're gonna be going in shortly, but I'm a little bit excited. I really wonder what they're gonna play, especially with the Orisa ban. Maybe the Maga. I think Maga seems a little bit popular recently. Could be cool to see him again.
I don't know. You say Mauga, but in my opinion, that ban really screams to me that they want to play like a more dive-focused pick, whether that be like the Doomfist, the Wrecking Ball, just something where their tank has a really high mobility. It's gonna be hard to kind of anchor him down, but we'll have to see. Either one of us could be right, or we could both be wrong at the same time. I mean, sometimes they could really throw us for a loop and just be like, actually, I wanted to play Hazard and just do like a hybrid of the two.
I've never minded the seeing dive. The Sonnet's dive with Hazard, that one I don't like seeing, but I cannot blame them for picking the character. Solid pick, very good at what he does. And once again, you can see on the top left our observers and production cast for the day. Be sure to shout them out. Big thank you for making, you see us casters at the front all the time, but to make that even happen, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. Rosters are going to be locked in. It seems like Sojourn, Xion, the Symmetra surely just for the TP. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but it's usually just the TP. And Friday, hovering the Zarya, not a bad pick at all.
I did forget Zarya existed as a character, kind of fell to the wayside, but hey, that's also a welcome addition, or I guess a welcome back moment for the actual tank itself. But here we go, map number 1, Hongsa versus Hidden King on Runasapi. It's anybody's game. Who is going to stay in that number 1 seed? Let's go.
Opening up with Mara still on the Symmetra. It was not only for mobility, but it seems like Foliage and Ricochet are gonna be there already. A little bit scared to walk into the middle. Both teams meet, and you know already in the voice chat, we're calling out what we see and hoping we don't get pinned by this Reinhardt.
Yeah, and they're playing almost like a very EMEA style comp with the teleporter as well. Just playing super aggressive, but Lucky getting the first pick.
Big TP, you already know these engagement types are fast, and if you're not ready, you're gonna see Lucky finding 2 picks with Friday, putting the final nail in the coffin. That is the strength of the Symmetra comp. You may not have this, you already have the speed as well. So you can just sometimes fish for a TP and go for a quick pick.
Okay, it's a good start. They're going to scrap the teleport strategy altogether, going for maybe like a pseudo dive. It's weird they're not running like a true flanker. I know Xion is considered a flanker, but for me, she kind of screams like a soldier, sojourn style of play.
Definitely not something like Tracer or Sombra. Someone is behind you, and it seems like even if she's not a flanker, she can still find the first pick on to go. Look at this, it's gonna be a dive for sure coming in from the monkey. Bubble is gonna be cutting off all that healing, forcing you to walk up, but EM overextending a little bit. The Mike is gonna do so much damage to Lux, and even though it ends in a trade, it seems like Hidden King does not need anything else to reach this checkpoint.
Yeah, minute and a half already getting this first checkpoint. Can't wish for anything better, and they don't have to peel off either. They kept the bulk of their team still alive. They keep the Lucio on the push bot the entire time, and now you just keep applying pressure, keep going super aggro and straight into their spawn.
I like what I saw right there, just Foliage going for a very aggressive flank that ends up in a kill. EM a little bit extended, the bubble's gonna keep them alive, but you have no more gas to really engage with. There's nothing you can do except wait for you to jump, wait for your bubble, and you have no armor as well. Winston really needs that. Look at this Mara going in, big bike. The damage we were talking about earlier is coming into play. Ricochet dropping extremely low. Can EM finish off the pick? It's gonna happen. Ricochet down, all of the backline gone for Hidden King, and all you can do is get out.
Yep, that was the domino effect right there. One single motorcycle from Mara completely flipped the match on its head, and now Friday put in a really bad spot. Gonna wind up losing all of their charge, and M just capitalizing on any of the prey that gets a little bit low. So now they kind of get some push of their own. They're on a pretty significant deficit though. I mean, they have 7.5 minutes to make it happen.
And Friday, during that fight, even though they lost it, they were still pushing the bot, getting that amount of progress. So it's not the worst loss that you could have taken. EM getting assaulted from every single angle, and it's just a little bit hard. There's no more bike on the side of Mara. Using all of their cooldowns, there will be no more engaged. Friday trying to fish for a little bit more energy. The Kitsune comes out, yeah, there's an overclock coming. The night is phase. EM getting a little bit too excited. There will be no primal to keep them up. Surely a mistake, because Foley is gonna end the pick with 2, and Lucky another 2 picks.
Beautiful slide shot. Yeah, that was a big commitment from Hongsa. I mean, they felt really confident going in off of the Kitsune Rush, not going to be able to find anything. Lux wind up committing the overclock as well. So they are going to equalize some ultimates, but I mean, for the most part, it's definitely a big win for Hidden King. Now they keep it from getting a checkpoint and another chance at life.
I don't know, Leapfrog. I think you have to swap with the monkey. You're getting just mauled in these fights. They have so much more sustain than you to live all of your leaves, but surely something can happen here when you're jumping into the backline. Foliage backing up with this bike, getting a little bit of damage, keeping themselves safe, but Mara overextending and getting burned by doing so. EM is gonna find a good pick onto Lucky, but without your sword, you don't have the damage. Look, lives through the rush. Thankfully, there's gonna be enough, but I think they're gonna hunt you down. Friday is angry and they don't want this Lucio to get out. Stuck on this corner. Nowhere to go but back to your spawn. EM using their primal, but they gotta say something about it.
Yeah, they got full charge Zarya. It's impossible to kind of uproot him. Now without the damage dealers, I mean, you need your Xion and your Sojourn to kind of pop the bubble and actually kill him. The beat's getting traded out, but again, I think it definitely goes in favor of who gets that beat off first. They can kind of capitalize on it. M not able to get out in time either. Friday's still full charge and already working towards another Graviton. 70% for him, and this is going to be good. We're definitely going to hit the triple digits in terms of meter push.
A long and painful death for EM, just staggering themselves out. And they're sticking onto the monkey. I think you have to swap at some point. You just can't really live any of these long engagements, especially with Friday on the Zarya. Look at this, Mara getting their dash forced out of them, and this is just a very messy fight. The entirety of Hidden King a little bit disconnected, but they group back in this Sojourn shot. So much damage. Ghost goes down. No more Lucio for Hongsa. No more Xion. and just a slow but painful death for Hidden King.
Yeah, I already talked about it earlier about how, Hongsa needs to keep their DPS alive so they can chunk down their tank. And you saw firsthand exactly why M immediately getting blown up. I mean, a Winston with the bubble is good and all, but when they walk through your bubble, pretty much means it's useless. So now Friday has access to a grab here. I can see it coming out really early on in this fight.
And EM getting burned before the fight even starts. No armor, no HP to dive with. And look at this basket. Just trying to give healing to the entire team, but there's nothing you can do against this 100 charge Zarya. Where will this happen? Yes, that's a big block. 3 people getting hit by it. Gravity huge, easily winning the fight. And I think this is all she wrote.
Wow, the discipline from Friday there to hold on to it during the Kitsune Rush, force them all to run down main. I mean, it was capitalized on beautifully to be able to secure map number 1.
I think it's just I don't know how to feel about this. I understand I understand, right? The monkey as a pick in general, not a bad pick into Zarya, but I feel like a lot of these engagements are just getting kited almost perfectly by Hidden King, right? You have fights that go on, like as soon as they see the dive, they're backing up, getting together, stabilizing, and then coming back at you, and you cannot win these long fights if you're Hongsa. I think it's a little bit of a blunder, but surely they can come back in this game too, right?
Yeah, it's never over till it's over. So I already pointed it out. I said at the very beginning, I said it's kind of confusing. You're going to run the Winston, but you're not going to run a true flanker. Because again, Xion may hit that flanker category. But again, when you get the major perk, she kind of fits them all. And again, that bike is not really going to help you out when you're actually trying to capitalize and dive onto a particular squishy. So you got to find something that can either, 1, pump out more damage, or 2, that can actually be a little bit more agile so they don't have to completely disengage from a fight. And that's why I think Tracer would kind of fit that role, or even the Reaper. I think Reaper actually probably would have worked even way better in that particular comp, because then when Zarya is using a lot of her bubbles to kind of keep their teams alive and keep them healthy throughout the fight, she's not going to have those ones to use for herself.
Reaper, a very popular pick recently, right? Just like the character has gotten so many quality of life changes to where you can live longer, your TP doesn't take forever to come out, better cooldowns, a little bit of extra range with the dire triggers, right? So I do agree. I think we should have seen some sort of change, regardless of what it should have been. It should have been the DPS, maybe the tank, the support line, always solid with Kiri Lucio, but still a very tough game to hop back from, and honestly lots of things going wrong that hopefully you can fix through bans, through a different comp, some switches in players, and especially going into a different map leapfrog, because we're moving on to Surabasa, which historically a lot more favored towards rush comps rather than dive, so we might see some changes there.
Yeah, 100%. And again, you got to have goldfish memory when you're coming to the series, especially a quick series like a 1st to 2. You can't dwell on the past. I mean, sure, that wasn't a great map for you guys. You got full capped. Don't worry about it. Brand new map, brand new bans. May's going to be back in play, and same thing with Orisa. But at the same time, are you really going to be leaning on the May and Orisa a whole lot? Based on what I saw for those first 2 comps, I mean, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But at the same time, maybe you swap in a particular player that specializes in either of those characters, and you'll have a completely different map.
I agree. I think we should see someone, maybe there has to be a change, right? You don't want to have another game where just the meters are so in favor. Like it was not even really like Hongsa on the scoreboard at all. Maybe the first 20 meters, but then again, a fight where you burnt out. And yeah, the Zarya ban, I agree. It's just the character is strong. The character has always been solid. And honestly, if you're not completely organized and playing around her energy and the bubbles, it can snowball out of control, right? Like honestly, one of the only scaling characters where killing her completely resets a lot of their advantage, but losing a fight to Zarya just means more energy for the next one, more bubbles, more damage, and yeah, it just gets out of control really quickly.
Yeah, and they just buffed her too. I know they just, they put a really big change to a lot of characters, but Zarya is definitely seeing a little bit more, a little fluctuation, a little bit higher playtime, but at the same time, you can just ban her, get rid of her, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's what the bans are for, right? Like, you are never above banning a character you just find annoying. Not even like, honestly, if Roadhog is not the best character in the game, but he's still annoying to your comp and they're playing it well, why not just ban it, right? Just get rid of it. And moving on to this next map, seems like that's what Hongsa wants to do. They want to hold this number 1 position in their bracket. Hidden King thinking about their ban a little bit more, waiting to see what they do. And honestly, I don't think there was anything that was really threatening them, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, anything that they want to try to ban, they kind of really lean on. Like, I don't think they're gonna try to ban Lucio or Kiri here, considering they like to play those. So I don't think we're gonna see any drastic ban. Maybe we might see some silly ban like the Sojourn or the Xion again, like we did match number 1. Yeah, it's probably gonna be one of the DPS, I would think. But either which way, I feel like Hidden Kings, they're in a really good spot where they don't really have to worry about a whole ton, because as long as they keep playing anything like they did, I don't think the Zarya ban's going to mean too much for them.
Yeah, we did see Mara play the Xion and the Tracer. I think that might be a good pick. Oh, the Genji ban coming out. Okay. We did not see it last series, so you already know this might be something that they just know, hey, this player plays it and they're pretty good at it, right? Again, we're never above player-specific bans, and it's always better than banning something that you're gonna play or that you could do better than the enemy team, right? So, decent bans coming in. Mei and Orisa are gonna be back on the table, and the Orisa ban, again, it just keeps puzzling me, and I wonder if it's actually gonna show up or if it's just like a player-specific ban.
Yeah, well, I will say Orisa is not a bad counter for the Zarya, because while for most tanks, when you're getting beamed down by Zarya, you typically have to run away. Orisa is one of those characters that can tank it out. He could just you can just pop Fortify and kind of withstand a lot of that beam charge, and a couple of good headshots onto Zarya forces her to run away. So maybe we're gonna see it this next map. I don't think so, me personally, but at the same time, it's anybody's game here in the B League.
Yeah, and honestly, what matters most here is just looking to stabilize a little bit more. Maybe play a little bit slower, look for some changes to get yourself up on the board, because once again, we're moving into Surabasa. If Hidden King wins, that's going to be it. It's the first of 2 series. However, if Hongsa is able to put themselves on the scoreboard, we're going to be moving on to Escort. And Control, should some strange tie happen. That doesn't happen often, but there's always the chance. So a little bit more action coming your way, and I think the rosters have been finalized. We're gonna see Y6 coming in, alongside I think Lucky for Hidden King, players that we didn't see last game. So some changes, and hopefully it plays out differently for Hongsa, because honestly, after that first game, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, you have to have that goldfish. Remember, you gotta come into it with a blank slate, because remember, this is a do or die on the series. You lose this, it's only a first to 2, so the match is set in stone right then and there. So hopefully we can find a way to bring it back, take us to that tiebreaker map on Shambali. But first, it is Surabasa, and this one definitely favors, like you were talking about earlier, that rushdown comp. So that's why I think getting rid of the Zarya is a great start. But now, how do you deal with the follow-up? Because again, I think M has a lot of different tanks under their belt. I think a lot of tank players in general have to be a little bit more flexible. And honestly, seeing the Reinhardt start off for them, I'm excited.
Yeah, M favoring the Rhine, which we did see earlier. Friday hovering the Doomfist again, never believed them. You never believed that. You gotta use Sacaster. Thank you for the shots production. I did not know about the Surabasa crocodile, but I'm a big fan. It's some cool little animation by Blizzard. Yeah. Oh, there we go. The wait, Hidden King banned the Orisa, but they're the ones playing it. Counter pick for sure for M, even if they don't know it just yet.
My assumption is probably a protection ban, right? To make sure you don't get your real tank that you want to play banned. But here we go. Let's run it up.
I can agree with that, actually. Protection bans are not strange, and they definitely have their use. Mara on a really good DPS to burn through Friday's gold and spin, but it seems like Hidden King just kind of stuck here. A big Symmetra TP looking to make something happen. The entirety of the team
run, Lucky, run!
Places. Lucky, we gotta get out of there, but it seems like Joe's the one that gotta get out. Friday is gonna get picked off. No more Lucio, no more speed. M slinging the hammer, but it's not gonna be enough. So much damage on this barrier. Is not enough to keep you safe here. Kiriko getting speared behind you is not a good sight. 20% and kicking. Beautiful fight start for Hidden King.
Listen, I'm a Reinhardt enjoyer. I'm a Reinhardt believer through and through, but it ain't gonna work, Chief. You just held shield that entire time. Yeah, you see M immediately swapping over to the reset, matching it. Mara going over to the Sojourn as well. And I'm really surprised that Hidden Kings wants to lean on the Xion so much. I didn't see a whole lot of success for it, but maybe we can find it now.
I like that we're setting up a really cheeky fight right there. Burning their gold really fast first thing in the fight, and that is not a good thing when you're playing in the Orisa kick, especially when you have to cycle your cooldowns to live. Won't matter too much though. Y6 on the far looking for a little bit of damage. Friday just trying so hard to keep them from entering, and they burn the slide of the Sojourn. No more engage, and this is just we're just at a standstill. 15% and ticking. Does Hongsa touch the point?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. They do get rid of foliage off to the side, so maybe they gotta just hope that M can get that touch. Does have all his uses, resources available. Lucky popping the high noon, just looking for a pick, just keeping it all off sight, and winds up getting rid of Ghost.
You cannot get out of their sight, especially when they're getting sped up by Moon, who's just completely in the same tempo as them. Moon, unlucky, find the last two picks, but instead is gonna pick off their Kree for a little bit for the time being, but Hidden King gets their first point.
Yeah, you see Basket immediately go, hey, as long as I got my one pick, that's all that matters.
Wait, bad message from Lucky. I can't show that one on the stream. And I like Friday's player cam. I like
is that what I was literally typing up. I was like, I don't know who Brock Lesnar is and why is he on my screen.
I like that they have it right there. But you know, it's a manga reference, but we're playing Orisa, and M interrupting me with a good pick onto Moon. This is gonna be the Terror Surge. It's gonna be ready. I think you have to pop it here. Yeah, make this a little bit less useful. But Mara Bastard go down. Doesn't matter though. It seems like Hongsa wins this fight, even if they only have a couple of their team members left.
Yeah. No. I don't blame it. I see the vision with the Terror Surge, but the problem is you're still doing it in the middle of a Kitsune Rush. They're there. Everybody's gonna be able to shoot so much faster, so much damage being pumped into you, and you're in Orisa. That's not where you want to be. You kind of want to fight a fight, get your picks, get your damage, and then get out quickly.
And not to mention the Susu, right, that kept them alive for so long. Y6 on a very cheeky angle. This barrage is gonna be a jump scare for someone. Surely doesn't find their target. It doesn't. It does so much to keep Loki alive, even if just for a little bit longer. Foliage looking to follow up, but this beat is gonna make it impossible to chew through that much of an overshield. Mara is next on the chopping board. Is this DPS ult gonna do anything? And it seems like every DPS ult went into nothing.
Wow, they're able to stabilize actually pretty well. This is actually winnable for Hongsa here. I was genuinely surprised. I thought that far barrage, when it didn't find the connection, they weren't going to be able to find success. Mara tries to get the slide shot, not able to find it, getting speared up. Friday is going to keep the fight alive and well.
Missing a very important shot right there. Letting the Xion go out is not what you want to do. Friday uses all of their cooldowns, but it seems like Hongsa is running out of fuel, or that's what I would say. Y6 gets a very good pick onto Foliage. No more pressure from that Xion on your backline, and we're just hunting down this Lucio. We want him dead, but nothing is gonna be able to pick them off. Lucky using all of their cooldowns, but again, nothing is dying. Big Terrorsurge though. Both three. Will it kill anything though? That's the big question. Yes, Mara gone into Powder of the Stars. Friday. Will we get anything here? It's just a long fight, and the percentage is still ticking in favor of Hidden King.
Yeah, 100%. You got to keep that going, keep the energy alive. But you see M just trying to do a desperation Terror Surge to be able to turn things around. But Foliage and Lucky just chunking down the opposition, making that fight win impossible. And it was unfortunate because Hongsa was able to stabilize during that entire time, but they wound up losing access to that point, and all 100% was while they were there, while they were still kicking alive in that fight. And now a 2-0 lead for Hidden King. Now it's last point opportunity for Hongsa to be able to turn it around.
And it's the worst kind of loss that you can have, right? You're losing, a big pause from Mara coming in, something maybe ongoing. And if anything, gives you a little bit of time to think about what is happening. Honestly, Leapfrog, that is the worst kind of loss you can have. It's literally a fight that goes on for so long that it's almost 80% going to Hidden King, and you're still losing. You're still fighting, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it was definitely a head scratcher moment because they were just a pinch off of sight. You saw M was fighting for his life in there, but at the same time, when you guys are fighting for a do or die situation, you might as well just give it up on the objective, because whether you win or lose in that point, you want to try to maintain as much of the actual percentage as you can on an objective like Flashpoint, because as you can see, it goes by very, very fast. During that entire ordeal, we were tag teaming back and forth on the mic and still went to the way of Hidden King.
Yeah, it takes forever, right? It's a fight where there are so many moving parts, so many people dropping low, and you're still not quite able to find a single pick. So Hongsa, honestly, just very disorganized, not looking together on any of these picks. But moving on to last point, again, we got to remind you, first to two, this is match point for Hidden King. Will they be able to take Hongsa's first loss and put it on their name, using that amp to keep themselves safe for a little bit longer, though?
Okay, Foliage already started off well with a pick, and we're going to do an early Kitsune Rush from memory, going straight to the spawn door, straight to the heart of Hongsa.
And immediately finding 2 picks, 3 picks. You're going to be down so many people. 4. Not even let me finish speaking before we pick off Y6 to finish off that fight. And you know what? I love what they're doing here. They're just keeping the tempo up, using one ult, winning the fight, build up another one, and use that in the next one. It's just the same cycle, and you cannot break it.
Yeah, the math is there, and guess what? It's all working out in their favor, so you might as well keep it going. And now look at the ultimates that they have at their disposal for this next fight.
A lot of ultimates, that's what I gotta say. 4 ults, can you chew through these many resources? Lucky throwing a flashbang. Is anyone there knocking on the door? It seems like no one, but now they're coming out. There's gonna be Xion and Lucio. Do you beat though? I don't think you can. Yeah, you're going down. No more Lucio for the side of Hongsa, and they're still disconnected. This is what we were talking about, right? Everyone fighting their own fight and losing all of them.
Yeah, you gotta, if you're gonna take these ones like that, I mean, you gotta make sure you're winning them, but then also if you're gonna wind up losing, off site, you're just stagnating your team even more. They have to Kitsune Rush just to get out of the spawn door. High noon from Lucky as well, looking for a big pick, not gonna be able to find anything, but the beat comes out from Jizz as well, and putting a Terror Surge on the map to keep their hope alive. Get 2 big picks, and now they're going straight to point.
Giving us signs of life finally with a big ult, and honestly, a very big overcommit from Hidden King, using that beat to play really aggressive and go into them. Then the Deadeye, I understand the Deadeye, right? Just to shut off that Kitsune Rush, but very massive clutch by M, killing 2 with that Terror Surge.
It's fine. We got the other beat out, so as long as Moon has to use his beat at the same time Jizz has to use theirs, it's an even trade-off. Foliage has access to the Setsuriki spree, so we're gonna have to try to be aggressive, go straight to the hearts, and now with Memory having Kitsune Rush, this is gonna be a hard fight to win if you're a Hongsa fan.
Yeah, but it's hard as well, right, to make this rush work. And, oh my god, off the map! So you get back.
We're good.
So many resources. You use the rush in the worst way possible. I'm sorry. You cannot do that to try to touch the point. You're not gonna find a singular pick, and pushing you off. What do? Get the tank. It doesn't matter. They cannot really touch. Overtime is ticking. And I'm sorry, but even after that blunder from Hidden King, you're still able to find your triple pick, and you're still able to find out the first loss for Hongsa on your hands.
All right, well, good stuff to Foliage, because definitely had the composure there. I definitely would have went swimming into the water with the crocodiles below and watching me play the game on top.
Is it gonna be play of the game? If it's play of the game, that's the funniest thing ever.
Yes, it is.
You don't get to see it, but it really feels like the, oh my god, I fucked up. I have to use my ult to like make up for it, and then they pop it to go back into the fight. Good job by Hidden King. Funny little way to end it, but just running over Hongsa today for sure.
Oh man, very, very well played from Hidden King. I mean, despite the mistakes, despite going straight into spawn door, playing aggressive, making them use a lot of their resources early on, they're still able to kind of communicate, stabilize, and again, you could tell that they're running on all cylinders here. Just no chance for Hongsa to be able to kind of uproot the Kings. You think you're the king? No, I'm still on top, baby. 2-0 now for Hidden King, and now you can see them on the #1 slot.
Yes, looking really good. I gained behind from the rest of the competition, other than Slime City Monarchs, but still, you're being able to take the first win against the first loss that Hongsa ever had. That's really good, and your map differential is looking beautiful, if nothing else. Right? I love what we saw today. Aggressive gameplay that makes it almost, they made Hongsa look almost lost, right? Just a lack of coordination, and just every single fight they're hammering you with ults, they're hammering you with damage, and nowhere to go but back to spawn and think about what you can do next.
Yeah, sent them straight to timeout, and that's what you need to do. I think if you want to establish your dominance, do it in a commanding fashion. A 3-0 on the second map, just complete swivel of that. And I think we have our MVPs already set up, yeah. And you can already tell that this team is running phenomenally, and it's all thanks to their tank, man. Friday was putting the team on their back, whether that's the Zarya or the Orisa, which is a crazy thing that they went for that ban to start and just matched it up and just light them up.
Yeah, I love what they were doing on Runasapi in particular, right? Hunting down individual players so well, using bubbles to keep the DPS alive on these engages. They were honestly, their coordination was on point. Every single engage that Hongsa was trying to set up, immediately back it up, stabilize, come back in. Friday has 100 energy, and the rest is history. Just beautiful gameplay from Hidden King. I love what we saw, and honestly, they looked like a tough, competitor to beat. Friday looking really good, our MVP for the night. But Leapfrog, you cannot count Hongsa out just yet, and hopefully in the future they can come back and show us, hey, you know, a bad game happens for anyone, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, it's not gonna, again, that's your first loss of the season, so it's not like it's gonna tell the entire story. You're already 2-0 leading up into this match. So again, as long as you can kind of, I think the coordination was definitely on a miss. You saw a couple fights where they kind of swung off to the side and like half their team's over here, half team's over there. Yeah, that's easily remedied. So I don't think any individual skill was the issue, just a matter of just communication and just coordination. So now, once we get that back up and running, I'm sure we'll be perfect for week number 4.
Absolutely, and just like you already know, these were just the first 2 games. We went from A League to B League, and now I don't quite know where we're gonna. Oh, never mind. Demonetized versus Yatagarasu. We're gonna get a whole taste starting from A. We just saw B, and now we're moving on to C League. We love C League around here, the greatest league of all time. Then we will have Snowdrop versus Ametori to close the day off. But we can't forget about the B stream, and we can't forget about the off stream. So be sure to check those out if you have the chance.
Yeah, you can see the matches are going to be on stream versus off stream. You saw Freefall 2-0 chosen on BPL_2, but they still got Goblin Goobers playing tonight, Elvish, Soul Knife, Odin, Noble Steed, and of course Nightwings versus Blue Rose. So plenty of matches, plenty of Overwatch to be had here. So make sure you guys are keeping up to date on all things bad Pachimari. Join the Discord. Follow them on Twitter so you can know exactly when the matches are going to be happening. But we still got still got 2 more matches ahead of you. So stick around, get your snacks, and we'll be right back.
Hello, welcome. We are back. We're halfway through the last day here of our pretty action-packed Sunday here in BPL, the third week of the 8th season. I'm Mustard. I got Mr. Leapfrog to me over here, this way. And yeah, we have a C-League match for you right now. Demonetized versus Yatagarasu. Both teams sitting pretty kind of in the sort of the mid pack slash like the top of the group. So this match will be the one that determines who's really gonna sit up there, be in the very top. And you know, speaking of that, I mean, we're halfway through the day, so we got a lot of action, especially scattered around. I think we have 2 streams running right now. So this is the third match that we're gonna get to see here on this broadcast. And we have one more game after this. We have Snowdrop against Ametori, and that's going to be an A-League match for everyone wondering. That one should be a pretty solid match. I've kind of peeked ahead a little bit. Should be a pretty good one to end off the night. We do have 2 other matches happening on the B stream today. If you want to pull up another tab. And
yeah, I heard the B stream is looking pretty solid down there, but it's all been 2 Overwatch so far for our first 2 matches here tonight. Again, it was still 2-0 for that free fall and chosen match as well. I believe the Goobers match, I think that one should have finished up. If not, oh no, they're starting soon too. So that's gonna be a fun match to take a look at, take a gander. But oh no, they were actually already finished as well. I'll find out the scores for those momentarily. But let's take a look at the rosters for Demonetized and Garasu. But yeah, any names in particular you recognize for these guys?
Demonetized this is basically the Unk roster. A lot of these good portion of these players have been around in BPL for several seasons, if not since the very beginning. Feedstacker, Josh and Spooky, Tracy, Fives, Gruntfootuk, and Ippy. Word on the street says Gruntfootuk's birthday was today. He is unfortunately British, so it would have technically been yesterday. But we operate on Eastern time here, so it's still his birthday. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a birthday buff for him. But yeah, a lot of these names been in the community for several years now. You know, just you know, whether trading, Vibes merchants or fighting for championships. I am excited to see this team, see how they perform. I am a C-League player. I played against them in the kickoff tournament in a thrilling 2-1 match. So it was that we did win. I did win that. So
there you go. Yeah, you can always hold that W over their head. Yep.
Exactly.
I figure there. Let's take a look at the other roster. I think it's primarily filled with the ladies, so I can see already. I recognize a couple of the names, whether that be from Toxic and Bronson. Those are the names that really stand out to me. They've been around for a little bit. But either which way, I'm sure all these players are here to stay. Believe they're currently sitting at 2-1, so they're looking to keep their winning streak alive, keep them on that winning percentile coming into week number 4 here.
Oh yeah, they did lose in the first round of the kickoff tournament. Kickoff is kind of like a preseason, so like, whether or not it matters, who really knows? But they are 2-0 in the season, so they are trying to keep that streak going, stay on the top of their group. I will mention though, Baloney, I've played with him several times for Snowdown, which is the pre-made tournament that happens in the winter here. Just something kind of like between BPL seasons that. So I'm excited to see how he performs today. He's always been a solid DPS player every time we've been on a team together. So. And I played with him in C-League a few years back. So, always been a solid player. We'll see how he performs today. Here are our maps. We have Esperanza, Atlas, Shambali Monastery, and if somehow we draw Push, we're going to Antarctic Peninsula. Or Payload, I guess. You can draw Payload as well.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen a Payload draw before, or at least on like the hybrids or just the Payload maps themselves, but I don't think I've ever seen a Push draw once before. I know it's possible. It's definitely possible.
It's possible. Yeah, I've seen the clips online. I haven't witnessed it myself personally. We're moving into the bans. We want to get this game underway. Demonetized being the higher seed on the left side will ban Hazard. as their first ban. Yatagarasu whipping out that Lucio ban, so expecting a lot of ground gameplay today, or at least a slower paced play.
Well, I would say you say grounded, but I mean, to me, I feel like the Lucio ban kind of sets the tone whether you're going to run either like the Kitsune or the Kiriko Mizuki. Sometimes some of those teams like to run the Jetpack Cat and the Bastion, so maybe going a little bit more airborne focused. But we're going to have to see. Again, Hazard ban, maybe one of those things you try to use as like a protection, or maybe it's a scouted and then you're banning a particular player's main. But either which way, with Esperanza, there's plenty of different comps you can run, plenty of different styles. So let's get it on for map number 1.
Yeah, Esperanza, like you mentioned, a map with many styles. I know Hazard is fairly strong on Esperanza, given that you can control the high grounds and the low grounds with ease, close those gaps with the slash, and then the choke points are fairly skinny at certain points, so the wall is like perfect for that. Things add up, little things that make you might want to pick Hazard. Looks like we're gonna get things rolling, and Ramatra against Orisa, I think this is the matchup that we want to really look at for this one.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, that Garasso is going to be banning the Lucio, and they want to opt to run the Orisa. Typically, you want to run a Lucio with that, but they're feeling confident in their twirl ability usage, so let's see if we can make it happen. I think Ramatra is a great character to kind of play against it, but then you have to recognize the damage that's on the field, whether that be from the Sojourn or from the Reaper. Damage does start to add up.
Oh yeah, I think that damage probably slightly better weathered on the Ramatra for sure with the Nemesis form. We'll see which team should just engage first. I think Demonetized having a slightly better time at diving, I would say, than Yatagarasu. But they're just biting. They're playing patiently. Toxic will get an opening pick onto Joshin. So already for Demonetized, not a great start. Xion trying to find something, just going to be playing the push bot for now, as Spooky forced to just put up the arms and block his way out of that interaction.
Just completely running for the hills already. I mean, Shield just keep, backstepping the entire time. Push bot is starting to progress for Delsato just a little bit, but either way, Demonetized looking to get back into the fight. Already putting both supports very, very low. Toxic gets low as well, so everybody's forced to kind of just put a pause on the push and just try to find an opening pick. You can see Josh getting super low again.
Yeah, already would not be great for Demonetized if this Genji goes down first. 2 fights in a row. He's gonna get chained up. They're really looking for this guy. Not gonna confirm the kill, but he is hunting, trying to find his revenge on to Tagarasu's backline. But at the moment, still just things at a stalemate. Joshin trying to find any angle to get into this fight. Not gonna
early Kitsune rush. Kakai, Sanctuary comes up, as well as the Terra Surge from Edgy winds up falling as well. Spooky finally getting rid of their counterpart 5s, a super late retaliation as well as a late annihilation. Everybody's popping ultimates super late in that fight, and I didn't have no idea who it's going to belong to, because right now Brunt, all of a sudden Brunt puts up a Kakai at the last second. Dude, these ultimates are coming out so late in the fight, and it's still anybody's game.
Yeah, bike straight into Josh's face, followed up by a Death Blossom from Endelet. It will seal the deal. And at the end of, I believe, an 8 ultimate fights, it is going to be Yatagarasu moving that bot forward.
Yeah, see, you asked me who was going to win the fight. I 100% thought it was Demonetized. Edgy went down so early on, but Sammy utilizing that Kitsune rush to kind of help stabilize, Brunson dropping the Kakai Sanctuary super late or super staggered really did help out a ton with getting him this first checkpoint.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you end up in the situation where, using in most situations, the later support ultimate will win you the fight if you're able to weather the storm. I don't think that was really the case for Demonetized. And I was going to point out there, it just leads to that ult charge discrepancy. You're just going to be so far behind now, and we're trying to see Yatagarasu enter this fight, try to get anything done. Angelet still making things happen on that Reaper as the Orisa just follow up on this absolute collapse into the backline.
Yeah, just completely split on that fight. You see Spooky kind of trying to duke it out in the room, but support's kind of going through main, just trying to contest some of this push bot. And now we're looking potentially at a triple-digit lead now for Yatagarasu as Demonetized starting to build up some ults. They've had both their DPS ults for a little bit. Hopefully we can see Josh and come up clutch here in this moment.
Yeah, I want to see the DPS ults kill 5. Beatstacker looking for an angle on the overclock. Not going to find anything. Going to get answered by the Kekai Sanctuary. So not going to be able to find that backline pick. Spooky extremely low in the meantime, though. The Blade will come in afterwards. Xion ultimate comes. Going to be blitzing through the backline. Grunfootic taken out of the battle. 5's going to get walked out. And just like that, the annihilation was all for naught. Spooky will get an exit kill here, but it's just the late stagger is just not great for Demonetized if they want to hold this.
You know what, Mustard? I will say, if there's any consolation prize, that's the pick you want to get. You want to get rid of Edgy here, because now you prevent yourself from getting full capped here. Because I think now that you're going to have your team's full back in full force, Speed Stacker swapping over to the Cassidy, no more Xion. And you can see them immediately relinquish the bot presence. They're still working on that 127 meter to 0 lead, but either which way, this is a great win for them, because now they have Andalet again lurking in the backline, looking for another big ult to start us off.
Yeah, will not find it though. Feed Stacker with 2 clean picks to open up the fight. Yatagarasu on the back foot, make it 3. He was fishing for 5. He wanted that 5K, but
hey, you know what? He was literally living up to the name. He was stacking that feed with the picks, and what a time to swap to Cassidy. I mean, this is the time where you guys need to rally back. Push has been one of those pendulum swinging maps and game modes for a long time. And look at the time. We have 5 minutes still in the bank. We could easily turn this map around. You so happened the first 5 minutes. Let's see how the bottom 5 minutes work.
Oh yeah, it's still an uphill battle since you do have to just chain so many fight wins in a row. Demonetized, they are trying to find any angle to go in. Maybe looking to collapse on this.
Ah, Spooky falls again.
Oh, not a great start. They do get a trade, so they're able to hold the space for now. Maybe if they invest like ultimate or 2 into the battle, maybe it's winnable. But Beatstacker extremely low, space forced to be conceded. Demonetized backed into a corner, and Edgy Mom tries, but not able to confirm any kills.
Yeah, Edgy, I mean, even if they got low at that point, they still had access to Terra Surge. They could have just thrown out the last moment. You see them trying to recontest from this high ground here. Demonetized back with the full team here. It's up to Spooky to try to survive in these fights. I think when he takes some of these off angles, try to be a little aggressive, he needs to make sure his team is completely behind him. Josh, and not with him either, winds up falling super early on in the fight. And look at the side of Demonetized. Everybody's so low in terms of their health pool.
Yeah, and the DPS line once again taken out early. Toxic in a great position to just try to look for any stragglers. I mean, that Kitsune rush is just cosmetic at this point for Demonetized. Spooky will get 2, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Demonetized will get control.
Yeah, I was saying they do have to regroup. So at that point, I mean, they're gonna have a couple of resources to their range. I was definitely questioning that Kitsune rush, but actually it did help them kind of split the fight a little bit, because I think if they try to play on the push bot, it was gonna be all for naught, considering how many ultimates Garasal got at their disposal. But now it's a matter of, can they chain some of these fight wins together? Because you won one fight, got 15 meters. You need a lot more to go though.
Yeah, Reaper, I mean, the teleport into the backline is a bold strategy, but will pay dividends. Gonna be popping the death block, but not quite finding. Eventually will get the Mizuki out of the fight, but it is traded immediately. Joshin and Spooky taking matters into their own hands, but that spear from Edgy Mom is gonna take the Reaper out. You're not gonna have enough damage, and that bot is going to keep rolling towards that completion.
Are you kidding me? That was crazy. I know we saw Brock Lesnar earlier in that last match, but that was crazy seeing Spooky jump from the top rope, just looking for bodies, not able to find anything. And now, you have to get this out. Got an opportunity to be able to close out the map right now. They still have access to Terra Surge as well as Toxic's Overclock. We have both support ultimates. This is a great win condition now.
Yeah, Terra Surge invested early. The damage on the Feed Stacker is good. It will find that opening pick. Grunfootic out of the fight as well. Joshin. Reaper is taking moves in the back line. The team kill gongs will ring. The Demonetized, they will be able to touch.
It's going to be kind of close. They do maybe get a touch here. Joshin helping get a pick to start it off. Feedstacker had access to the high noon, but not able to actually utilize it. And map number 1 being able to be another full completion for this team. They're looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was just almost just complete and utter domination from Yatagarasu. I mean, barely giving them any meters, just kind of controlling the momentum of the game from beginning to end. Didn't matter that they lost the fight, they just walked back a little bit. Then after walking back a little bit, they just walked back forward. Just never conceded too much. Always kind of on that, like, on almost like a knife's edge, just ready to fight at any moment and somehow making it work.
Yeah, I think kiting is going to be super pivotal in a lot of these matches, because it doesn't matter about how you deal with some of those resources. It's about whether you're able to kind of regroup with your team and rehash that fight back out onto the objective and kind of stabilize a little bit. So we're gonna have to see a lot more of that. You saw so many of those fights where the team kind of got disheveled and split up. A lot of the time Spooky maybe dying first or dying last, which is not what you really want to see in from your tank.
Yeah, it was certainly, like, I think Demonetized, they need to look to try to play together a little more, try to be, just try to find a pick. They got like 1 or 2 here and there, but I feel like a lot of the times that was more of just being able to find an egregious error, less so trying to either force a mistake or try to even just win it outright. I think at the end of the day, like, that map was just Yatagarasu having just complete read on what Demonetized want to do, complete and utter just disruption of their game plan, and I mean, they just couldn't adapt in time.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, there's some little highlights here and there. I saw Feedstacker start to light up the kill feed towards the end of that map, so hopefully we can see more of the hit scan, whether that be on the Cassidy or the Sojourn and stuff like that. Not a lot of teams have been able to utilize the Xion to what they were expecting, so maybe we're not going to see so much more Xion for the remainder of the series itself. I think the supports made a pivotal difference as well. I think these little bit later delayed timing Kitsune rushes and Kakai sanctuaries really do make a difference when it comes to like trying to stabilize or like kind of rehash things out. It allows characters like Arisa and Ramacha to, build up enough time to get their abilities back.
Yeah, and also like with the Kitsune rush, your cooldowns come back faster. I think that's kind of something that is a little overlooked. Of course, everyone knows it happens, but in the heat of the battle, you don't really like it. It just comes up. The ability just comes up, and you're like, "Oh, cool!" Right? It's certainly like little things like that. Just being able to extract as much value as you can from port ultimates. I think it. I mean, Yatagarasu just kind of did the better job of it. Again, like there were some moments where I had a question mark or two, but they made it work in the end. I think that's kind of you win. That's kind of at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So the real question, what are they going to try to ban in retaliation? Obviously, Demonetized, going to get rid of the Reaper guy. That was definitely a thorn in their side. And honestly, that's who I was concerned about as well. And it was really being aggressive, going straight to the backline. You saw those aggressive teleports, forcing out the TP or the Suzu, or even hell, the early Kitsune Rush 5 has been really feeling the pressure. So now you can kind of take away one of the flankers. I wonder if he's got a couple other flankers in his tool bag, whether that be like the Tracer or Sombra, that can really still put some damage onto the supports.
Yeah, in my memory, he's a little bit of a Reaper merchant, so maybe we'll see either some substitutions or we'll see maybe something that I just completely have never seen before. Again, in the rulebook for BPL, if you are available and willing to play, you have to be subbed in for at least one map. So we might be seeing some substitutions for these teams if they have players waiting. Yatagarasu going to ban the Ramatra. Okay,
so that makes sense. That was a tank that Spooky I felt like was probably the most comfortable on. And I would imagine Edgy Mom probably still going to stick to her guns and stick on to the Arisa. So especially going into a map like Atlas, it really thrives on those like heavy engagements and just being very confident in your decision making. And I feel like with the way that Edgy Mom was playing, she was playing super aggressive, super aggro, and super on point with her team.
Yeah, I mean, it was cohesion. The synergy was there, and just able to collapse on anyone. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Spooky. We'll see what he pivots to here for the. I completely blanked out on the map we're gonna be on. It's
Atlas. Yeah.
We'll see where the pivot is. I do know Spooky as the Reinhardt guy, the Rectangle Man. So we'll see if we see a little bit of a Reinhardt appearance, or maybe Winston's also not super bad on Atlas. Atlas, again, a map that you kind of really want to brawl on. Kind of the same for all flashpoints. It's just the nature of the mode. You want fast-paced engagements, or just team comps that are able to take decades-long fights just to stall out timers. So it's it'll be interesting. We'll see what they roll out on. I am very curious, and also if we have any substitution.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite Flashpoint maps for sure has definitely been Atlas. One of the newer additions to Flashpoint. I know they made a couple changes like New Junk City 2.0, but I'm still going to consider this the newer one, both aesthetically and just the way it plays. You can play so many different comps here. I mean, look at that first map. We banned Hazard, and I feel like Hazard, it runs like a playground on this map. It's super well off for Hazard players, so hopefully we can see that in action as we load into map number 2. Again, they're gonna have to really dig deep here for Demonetized if they want to try to stay alive in this series.
Indeed, and I think the adaptation you're gonna really want to look for if you're Demonetized, you want that backline crushing ability. Right, Yatagarasu, I feel like their supports are just up all the time, and so hopefully we'll see some adaptations for that. We're gonna see the Mauga against the Hazard. So,
what was the adjective you said? Crushability? Is that what you say, Mustard?
I don't remember.
You know what the funny thing is? The reason why I ask you that is because I've used that adjective once before. It's because one of my fighting game players, his name is Joe Crush, and it was crushability is one of the terms I used and coined for a while. So hopefully we can see some more of that as we load into map number 2. But Hazard finally showing up on your screen, Demonetized, going with the Mauga, the machine gun guy. Let's go.
He's got a gun in each hand and a smile on his face, but he is not going to be finding a pick just yet, as both teams kind of playing their high grounds, trying to look for an angle or exploit a mistake. Demonetized is going to be rotating over on the other side, trying to catch Yatagarasu off guard, but it's not really going to happen. The slash comes through extremely low. No picks though, but they will get control of this objective. Whether or not they capture it is a different story. Okay, that is the dishonest Hazard character in play. Toxic, in the meantime, will run over a poor feed stacker trying to cross the street.
Yeah,
and that should
so
be the point capture.
That was so unlucky for Tracy. I mean, they booped Edgy Mom back from that first time and said, all right, I see you now. I'm just going to jump right back in the second time, immediately jumping onto the Lucio, running back to the spawn. Again, we're going to be quick back into the fight thanks to the Lucio and the fast spawn times, but you got to make sure you're not getting staggered and not getting picked before the fight actually begins.
Yeah, 5's extremely low there. But on that topic of being like low and having to always heal means 5's almost to the Kitsune Rush already. The Hazard's going to be stomped to the ground, but it does not matter. The Cardiac Overdrive just going to allow everyone to stay nice and topped up on Demonetized.
Kitsune on point for sure here.
I agree. 5's should look for an angle, especially now with Joshin finding a pick onto Sammy. But Toxic is going to have a different thing on his mind. Walking in, killing 4 on his lonesome. Going to be trying to get that 5th one. Make it 5 for the Shion. Yatagarasu going to be walking away with a team kill, and that should be the point capture. Demonetized can still touch, but I don't think they're going to want to.
I mean, that was unbelievable. I mean, 5's built up to their Kitsune Rush so quickly that I thought it was going to be a surefire win. Me and you both were like, this is going to be an easy fight lineup. You put the Kitsune Rush on point, you'll walk away victorious. But Toxic had another thing on his mind. A beautiful spree straight to the back line, and now they're able to walk away with that first point in hand. They do have a couple of ults they have to deal with, but look at the ults they have at their disposal.
Yeah, I mean, I want, especially the support ults here, it's going to be what really determines how this fight ends up. Kitsune Rush for both teams. Dogs out. for both sides. Feed Stagger with a flash. Didn't even need a headshot to complete the deal. There is a beat coming up a little late. Only catches on to 2 members of Demonetized, which does mean that everyone falls beside him. But in the scrappiness, in the mess, I think Demonetized do come out on top. Edgy Mom not going to be giving up her life for this objective yet. Demonetized get the
keyword yet. Because I'm going to say they immediately go straight back onto the point. They're starting to pressure, realizing that their tank's not here yet. They're just going to wind up contesting the objective as long as they can. Tracy getting super low, going to get chased down by the hazard. They have downfall if they want to, or downfall if they want to try to use it. But I want to say Edgy super low has to run for the hills, but not going to make it too much further. Spooky just chain gunning them down, keeping everybody also low. Josh in a really late spree as well, but that's going to do it for Yatagarasu.
Yeah, they are just gonna have to go back to the spawn, trying to find a pick. Toxic trying to find his one, but not gonna come up victorious. And I mean, for Demonetized, that was just a great pick on Edgy Mom. Play, you know, the Hats are playing a little too aggressive. Spooky getting those machine minigun shots straight into the back. I mean, like, you can't block on all directions, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make sure you're utilizing the block as best as you can. But now, I mean, this is going to be a third fight in a row. We're going to have that downpour. Not utilize it. I mean, just now playing a little too aggressive. No Suzu means it's go time for the Mauga. Straight to the hearts, straight to the killing blow. And that's going to be a point, an equalizing point now for Demonetized. I mean, looking like they're playing unstoppable now.
Next point is a little bit far. Yatagarasu should be able to reach it kind of either roughly at around the same time, maybe first. But yeah, like Edgy Mom just not respecting the Mauga at all. You know, getting caught out, getting bursted down immediately, and you know, you're holding on to this downpour. It's been several fights. I mean, other ultimates have come online now, and there's ways to counter it. I mean, that beat almost online as well. There is the downpour coming in. It won't find anything. Everyone from Demonetized is able to back off just in time. Toxic will pop the spree and will catch Feed Stacker, but it's immediately traded out. Bronson out of the battle. No Sanctuary, a lot of healing gone. Toxic trying his best to equalize it.
Yeah, you can see them just desperately trying to take care of the Lucio. They do finally gun him down. Andulet swapping over to the Cassidy as well, finding a pick of their own. Super late cage fight finds its mark. It lands right as they wind up falling. They're going to be able to keep up the point and actually get the flip into their favor. So it helped get them a couple percentage, but it seemed futile at that point. Definitely would have liked it back to kind of utilize that a little bit better.
I agree. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Spooky that cage, I think it was still on the point. I think if they walked forward, they might have been able to contest. I'm not too sure. Just what it looked like on my end, so.
Yeah, it's tough to tell, but either which way, they're loving this, because now Andulet feels like he's in a power position. And you can see it early. Kitsune rush from Sammy. Are they going to try to duel it out, or are they going to just try to kite it?
Oh my god!
Connection! And now the spree happens for Josh in lighting up the kill feed, and just a complete team kill for the side of Demonetized, flipping it back into their favor after an early Kitsune rush from Sammy.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a great headshot, and I mean, just the bike, just both hitting at the same time. I mean, that's just, whether maybe it's pure luck, maybe it's synergy, but that was just so nice to see. You get that early pick, you get it. You know, you get that momentum carried through, and you just render the rush useless.
Okay, and we have access to High Noon on both sides of the coin. Andulet, I feel like gonna use it early, but just when I say that, Kakai Sanctuary completely cuts off the heals and any chance for Spooky to survive that fight. And now just one ultimate to be able to help them flip the point back into their favor. Going back and forth here on point number 3, 75%. It does turn into a one-fight win scenario, but again, Yatagarasu in a really good position to be able to secure this third point themselves.
Yeah, Yatagarasu, they're gonna look to play aggressive here. Downpour used before the fight even begins. They're gonna catch everyone on Demonetized off guard. They're not quite ready to respond. They want this point, and they're gonna get it with that clean fight win.
Yeah, I would say no support ultimates they had ready for it. I mean, they were just completely disheveled to be able to walk out of spawn doors straight into the downpour, pulling off the Willem Dafoe. They look up and see nothing but spikes landing on their dome piece. But now, they can close out the series with this next point.
Yeah, Demonetized. I mean, uphill battle. We have to win the next 2 points. You have to win the next map if you want any chance to win the series. Just keep your fighting chances alive. Prevent that fate of being at the bottom of your group. As we have, some poke coming through. Sammy gonna get picked off immediately. A great headshot connection from 5. Speed Stacker on the flank, trying to look for something, trying to equalize, trying to keep his team alive. Yatagarasu, despite not having the Kiriko, somehow pulling off some heroics, getting some kills on the board, but it's not gonna be enough. Edgymom will be lucky to walk out with her life here. And,
oh my god, that spike is not helping you.
Oh my god, that a little dicey. Will get out.
Okay, able to get out with their life. Spooky getting kind of low themselves, but we still have Kitsune Rush from 5, so I can imagine they're probably just going to pair it up when Sammy pops theirs. No, going to be the aggressor popping the trigger for Tracy. Has access to beat. Beat Stacker getting low as well. They're going to be able to get rid of Tracy, so no beat on the side of Demonetized, and Spooky winds up getting to 1 HP, able to survive for the time being. Maybe going to try to use Cage Fight, and Joshin maybe going to turn things around as well with their Satsuriki spree.
Yeah, I mean, Toxic also has a space, so he could just match it. A great bike straight into Spooky's face. Tracy does return, stalling out a little bit of percentage. Same thing goes for Josh in there. And now the flip for Yatagarasu. I mean, but for Demonetized, a very cheap fight loss, right? They only really use the rush. So they're building up their ultimates. They have a great bank coming into this.
Yeah, and now it's one of those things like Yatagarasu, are they going to be trying to aggressive like they were last time? No, it looks like they're going to play point. They're going to just try to stay on there so they can stabilize and try to get some more percentage onto the board. But look at the amount of ultimate we have here. The beat, we could play super aggressive. Spooky has access to the cage fight, and Satsuriki's
a great trade, I will say. That Kekai Sanctuary keeping everyone alive. But yeah, they flipped the point. The cage. Just able to keep Yatagarasu off of the objective. So they get the flip, they're low. So the rest of Demonetized not quite able to really fully capitalize and try to win the...
Oh, but it was C9 mustard. Oh my gosh, they almost gave up the point. 99% at the buzzer. And now, with that ultimate that Edgy just had to use there, that's all they got. So now it's just a matter of, can Tracy get this beat off to make sure they get this point in their favor and tie it up?
Yeah, 5's also dangerously close to that Kitsune Rush. Will build up to a mid fight, which could really be the deciding factor. Spooky going in aggressively, recognizes that he has that lifeline. He does have the beat to bail him out and to let absolutely walk on. Tracy extremely low, need to keep this Lucio alive for that beat. Will stay up. They're looking for him, though. They're hunting him. In the meantime, Feedsacker going down. The hazard extremely low. Dueling hazard just walked away. The rush comes through for 5s. That carry go extremely low, able to stay alive. 99-99 for both these teams. Toxic going to be coming up huge in the back line. In the meantime, flip goes back to Yatagarasu. Spooky can't get back on. Yatagarasu, some way, somehow, will win that fight. They will win the map. They will win the series. And that does it for this match.
Wow, I can't believe it. I don't want to point fingers or anything, but we held on to beat that entire time. Didn't even get a chance to use it. Great work from Edgy to be able to peel off, I mean, make so many resources turn towards him and be able to turn that around. I thought that was surely going to take us to a final point, but somehow they're able to survive and weather the storm. Both support ultimates, not going to make any difference as they wind up winning this series. Another 2-0 over here.
Yeah, I mean, I think really, like, we were talking about how important that beat was going to be. It's, you know, it's going to be the deciding factor. It's the only ult in the fight. And Tracy just kept getting singled out. He kept staying, kept trying to, like, he was dueling the hazard. Like, just leave, just leave. Oh my God. Like, as a fellow main support player, I do kind of, yeah, that did kind of put me a little bit over the edge there. I was like, you're stronger than me. I do dabble in a little Lucio as well. When I got super low that first time, I would have not
risked it. I would have just been like, you know what, we'll just send the beat. It's a do or die situation regardless. So rather just spend it, we guarantee the fight win and just move on to the next point. And we'll be able to kind of work it out from there. But not utilizing in that moment, you got so greedy trying to hold on to it. There's just no reason to try to save it. But either which way, I mean, it's all thanks to Edgy, man. Edgy peeling people away from the team, just making things a lot easier for them to actually turn that around. And of course, that's who I'm deciding to give MVP to for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think just like you mentioned, peeling people away, and also just like on Esperanza, just able to execute into backlines on Orisa of all characters, and just kind of walk all over them. And there on Atlas, we saw right the Hazard just able to chop people up, just splitting up the team, just finding picks out of thin air. And I mean, we saw it there on that last fight, dueling that Lucio, not letting him get the beat value whatsoever. I think just clean.
No, yeah, 100%. I see why they want to ban the Hazard from here on out for this team, because I mean, Edgy, she's playing with the lights off, man, just complete domination on that point and on the Orisa too. So clean stuff for their team. They're all playing super intact. I mean, it really helped out too with Toxic being able to actually come up clutch in those moments. I mean, you saw in the play of the game that team wipe completely alone for Toxic off that Satsuriki spree.
Oh yeah, and with that win, we'll see how this shakes up the standings here in the C League. Our Crusader group, Yatagarasu, sitting nice and pretty up there, 3-0. They are tied for first actually with Elvish Soul Knife, who I believe played today, and they had a 2-1 win over Goblin Goobers, which was off stream. But both those teams both sitting nice and pretty at the top. Demonetized, since they do have a win, they're not quite at the bottom. They are currently 5th place in their group though, so not a great position to be in. Just if you're looking forward to the playoffs and trying to fight your way back up to the top in the rest of the season, right? There's 2 more matches after this for that group, so for each of the teams. So trying to fight your way back up, it's gonna be a little difficult.
Yeah, and especially in that one, I feel like out of all the group stages, that one feels like the most stacked. So it's not like you're playing necessarily bad. It's just you're filled with just really great teams. I mean, that entire Crusader group is kind of stacked to the fullest. So never know what can happen. You sometimes get those like late season runs that can turn things around, and I'm sure they'll be all right.
Yeah, and it deserves to be said that C League is the only league where every team has won a map. Deserves to be said. So there is a level of competitiveness in that, and for Demonetized, head up high, look forward to the rest of the season. So a lot to work on. You had glimpses of brilliance. You had those moments where you're like, all right, we almost got it, and just we look at what worked, look at what didn't, and then just forge on to next week.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's still another week to be played. There's still more Overwatch to be played, not only for the season, but also for tonight. We got one more match loaded for you guys up tonight. Up next, we'll have Snowdrop versus Ametori. You can see it's been nothing but 2 Overwatch tonight, so hopefully we can see some a map 3 potentially between these 2 teams, but you never know what can happen. I mean, it could be just be an all 2 Overwatch night tonight.
Yeah, this might be one of the rarest times we get a fully on time, on schedule BPL. Here's what's going on the rest of the league, though. This is a Super Sunday. A lot of matches today. BPL 2 does have that match against Odin and Noblesteed, currently 1-1. So that one's a banger. So no 2 Overwatch on that broadcast, because one of those teams is going to walk away 2-1. And there's another off-stream match that's going on right now, Nightwings against Blue Rose. We'll see how that match shakes. We'll see the status of that match maybe a little bit later when they do finally wrap up.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to take a short little break, and when we get back, we're going to go straight into the next match. So stick around, grab some snacks, to put on that BPL 2 stream, because guess what? They're still playing right now. I'm about to pull it up, get to peek at what's going on, and we'll see you guys after the bit.
I feel like sometimes in these compositions that the Lucio, sometimes it lacks in value compared to the Flex DPS because the speed is never fully utilized, but Cam is in.
Cam is in and popping Annihilation, giving themselves a second HP, but this is a boss fight that you cannot run your way out of. And that's going to be 3 people down. Odin finally stabilizing, but you lost your blade. you lost your Annihilation, and Noble Steed are gonna come back with a Blizzard, and you don't really have any way to get out of it other than a well-timed Susu, and you never know if they're gonna just wait for it, you never know what's gonna happen. This is a fight where Noble Steed has to think about their ults really carefully.
We've said that the whole game, right? Like, you've got to use your ult carefully here. Wi-Fi potentially gets caught. They could have a Blizzard. They decide to go for it.
Laser! Opening up! Massive pick onto the Ana. Denying. Oh my god, Skyser! Just diving onto the back. Who said that Ramattra was not a dive hero? You're trying to use that Vortex onto the Genji to secure the pick. And beautiful stagger, look at this! Preventing Cam from reaching the back of his team. Slowed down, frozen. And that is going to hurt you a lot.
This May Freeze perk is going to be so important as we're getting a beautiful show of our graphics.
That's true.
As Odin missing with the Lucio to hopefully try and speed away, but just Noble Steed having such more base sustain with the anti-steaming and the main actually just making a massive difference. Laser, who's the playmaker for Odin is down.
Opening up with a banger, but we're talking about Laser earlier, and it seems like they want us to talk about them as well. Opening with 2 picks, Wi-Fi denying the entirety of payload, and just freezing Stride. Try to deflect that as they secure point with 3 minutes and ticking. Jace, I just don't get it. Odin looking so dominant in the first 2 games, and then you have like the second one is not even close, and this third one, the tables have completely flipped.
I mean, we just kind of saw, you know, close game, nice comeback, stomp, and then now we're kind of seeing stomp a little bit. Odin can't get out the box. Like, look how little damage the DPS were able to do for the side of Odin. Completely vegan comp in comparison to other Wi-Fi. Like 2.1k damage from your Genji is just like disgusting for that map. You've got to do so much more than that. Wi-Fi really showing off the power of the May. Like, your May did 4.9k damage. Got that deep freeze perk early and absolutely planted. So it's going to have to be a heck of a mountain to climb. 3 minutes from here. Like, when you have this much of a time bank biscuit, it completely reshapes how you play this map. Because all of a sudden, you're not trying to win every fight. You're not really trying to create a snowball effect. You know, like, you can give area of the map. You can stack an ultimate or two. You just can afford yourself to be like, hey, okay, they're going to if they finish the map, that's fine. If they finish the map with a minute left, that's good for us. We've got a massive time bank to work with. So now, Odin, they not only have to win the map, they've got to win it quick. And that can add pressure. You can over-ult into fight. You can go for ego plays. You might not need to. You can rush cleanups in fights. And as we saw in Cerebasa, Noble Steed are comfy playing down 1.
Yeah, and I think I gotta shout out is the Cat Bastion. I don't want to call it all the meta, but we did see this be very prominent. What a competitive play and community play for a little bit. The turret is gonna come out, and this is when you gotta take space if you are Odin, and that's exactly what you do. Pushing them back almost to the last part of the map. Jade, it's so impressive.
Yeah, look at the free high ground and angle that they get. Noble Steed all forced to swing the corner, but I don't think Odin can really wide peek with it. They can't beat the Bastion, so they've got to give that pressure. Odin get a little bit of free cop. Let's see if they try again.
Crow seeing what they can pick up, and it seems like they're gonna get exactly that. Austin just stuck in this little room, and will they get picked off? I think this is a good chance for Odin to try and push their advantage a little bit, but they stabilize for a little bit longer. Skyser is not gonna have form for this though, and this Maga might just have the chance to run at them. Ugh, no more shot on Laser. It's about to get their ult. So many moving parts, but it seems like Odin a little bit in the lead. Look at this, just flying at you. Does Ugg die to this?
No, we can't hit the Bastion. We can't hit the Bastion as Sojourn, by the way. That's such a hard hit. Cam is frozen, and you're going to be able to hit that 9 times out of 10.
Laser investing their ult on a lost fight. I do gotta say, not the best thing to do right there. And Wi-Fi, really good recognition. They see Laser and Crow going over onto their backline, so they just walk forward and freeze the tank. That's all you gotta do, really.
May too good. Just again, this map has had Wi-Fi's name all over it, as it did in map 1. To be fair, and Noble Steed looks very, very confident. There's now 2 minutes left. Odin, they've got Kitsune rush. Cam's already on the
Oh my god. Cam getting so low is gonna make it incredibly hard. It's gonna make it incredibly hard to walk back in. But this Ramatra, you're gonna suffer at the hands of these little chain guns and the nano to keep Skyzer alive. It doesn't hurt you, but it definitely is gonna make it hard to take space aggressively. The Scat is gonna request a little bit of a lift around here. Are we gonna pop Annihilation? I think we might just need to. The Sky is gonna be covered on this Noon, and this Ana is just gonna die. Nothing you can do about it, Austin. Caught between a cat and a little bit of road right there. Does this kill the Maga though? In this cage fight, it seems Cam getting so much value off of the one cage. And Jace, we said that they're not playing necessarily to win, and honestly, this is a fine loss for Noble Steed. The timer is not looking good for them.
They're going to have a monstrous fight on Blizzard here. What they need to do, I think, ideally for Noble Steed is if they can win this fight without using Blizzard, then with where the card is, they might have an even better Blizzard fight. Or even if they lose this one, on the retake, I think Blizzard might be really good as well. Laser going for what we described as the lethal Bastion. Looking for ultimates at the start of the fight. Wi-Fi might take a chunk of damage now. Doesn't.
No, forcing out the block though, which is gonna definitely hurt their sustain a little bit. Using the wall, Wi-Fi out of cooldowns, and this is not the best thing to do, especially when this Bastion is already kind of ready to dive on your backline. A lot of people getting a little bit low. Wi-Fi still no wall, still no block, and this is gonna be a big stomp from Maga. Will this get anything? Yes, Wi-Fi. Again, we were saying no sustain, nothing you can do about it. Can we keep Laser up though? No. Frozen and shot by everyone on your team, but you've invested every resource to kill Laser, and you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, this ultimate from Skyzer is desperate. It's just to win the fight. Might not matter in the end. It completely expires. You get another slower form, and the armor refresh might just be good enough. But this one fight, I don't think it benefits Noble Steed. Skyzer seems more charging that. It's not really what you want to see, as we said. Noble Steed talk about the time bank, but they ult them into kind of a quick fight loss as well. Wi-Fi do so much though, I think, even in some of these fights. Now has the defense active as well. Saw how quickly that one got set onto Caladrius. Now they're going to have even more of a tough time heading into
Cam looking for a little bit of a different angle to go, and again, Wi-Fi burning block so early is going to hurt you. They do have to touch the points, I understand, but at the end of the day, missing all of your cooldowns is going to make it impossible to live on point, and that is just cleanup crew from the side of Laser and Shry, finding the picks, but again, the timer's ticking, and even if they were to completely leave the game, Odin would reach the point way later than Noble Steed has.
And honestly, Biscuit, you know, like, speaking quite frankly here, sister woman, sometimes people can just get in their own heads in terms of character selections and these officials. Like, Sorry was on Genji, and it was kind of a sorry performance excuse for them not making that one again. Now they're just on Cassidy, they look way more comfortable, and they're frying. Noble Steed on Mal, the double hit stand. There's no way that's real.
High Noon, look up at the sky. That's a flying Sorry. Finding the pick onto Wi-Fi, just diving them. Who said that this is not a dive comp? But so much damage is going onto Laser, and they're surviving. No, never mind. This is gonna be a nano, keeping Skyzer alive long enough to win the fight, and maybe the whole battle. Skyzer killing Ogma, even off cam, clashing into each other, and this is just, you gotta give it to Austin, recognizing that nano was gonna win them the fight, and Skyzer doesn't even need to look at the people they're killing. They just keep them on fire, and that's enough.
Yeah, huge nano good nade as well in that exit fight. So for the matchup for Bastion versus Mauga, by the way I understand it is if obviously the longer the Bastion gets on fire, the worse it gets. But also if the Mauga has shouts, or if there's any cooldown help from either side in the individual isolated one-on-one, whichever team has the cooldown advantage basically. If there's no cardiac arrest, cardiac overdrive, which is still I completely from this fight, whatever. Laser nice pick on the
overextending a little bit. Pro's gonna be right there to help their Cubicle stay alive, and this is just crumbling down. Noble Steed individual picks are turning into the whole team just dying. This Maga getting swiped out. You're gonna go down. Another Kitsune coming out, a last-ditch effort for Noble Steed to recover this fight, but it's not going to be enough. And even though the timer's down a little bit, this is not an insurmountable lead. A minute 20 seconds is a lot, yes, but Jace, not impossible by any means.
No, not impossible at all, and Odin seemed to be slowly figuring out the pieces and the answers. Back to what I was saying about Mauga versus Bastion, because I completely messed up that fight analysis. If both teams have cooldowns available, like if Form is available and the cardiac overdrive is available, then I believe the Mauga wins basically 9 times out of 10. So then you need a Suzu, you need an Anti, you need a railgun to hit. But in terms of the isolation, most of the time the Mauder can't sustain through the Bastion format because of their easiness to crit and over health. But as we're moving into overtime here, right?
Yes,
It's different now because it basically into the
matters is that we fight to the very last second.
Yeah, there are not many shields to try and hold off like the burst damage, right? It definitely kind of guts your ability to do continuous damage, but you're still able to burst really, really quickly. And it might just be what you need in this matchup. Odin is going to be the first ones to open up. 1:30 on the clock. Is this enough to get them to move forward in the match? We'll find out. Laser, I think their perk surely has been chosen at this point. There's a flying tank in the air, and you just
so sometimes with Widow, you can respect it too much, or you can under-respect it.
Crow taking a little bit of damage, but it's not enough to kill them. And look at this, the value from and I don't even want to call Laser not technical, but giving them a little bit of forgiveness, right, in these aerial shots where it's just kind of hard to do it. Crow in an intense 1v1, using the pack to restabilize, and we're coming back. Yeah, this Widow will not live today, or at least that's what I like to think. Yes. Laser, good job finishing off what Crow had started, and this is just going to be another pick on the Skyzer, and you have to change this into the point win. You cannot let them get out if you're Odin, or they will come back and bite you.
It's important to remember that Odin are trying to win this, and they're trying to push with time on the clock as well. And it's important to remember that Cats historically have high win rates against Snipers, so Odin's really going to struggle.
True, you cannot ignore the historical matchup. Skyzer trying to hold off so many different people here, but now there's a Bastion in the sky, and all you can really do as Ramatra is just kind of hope that your teammates don't completely crumble, and it seems like that's exactly what happened. Cardiac Overdrive being popped is gonna hurt your ability to do long fights, and we're going into overtime, Jace. The sights are gonna be online, but Ugg completely out of the fight, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. Wi-Fi trying to do as much damage as they can from a distance, but it's not going to be enough to help their team win. Austin dies, Skyzer as well, and if you're Odin, you need to chain these picks. Keep getting the momentum.
It's time for Noble Steed to get off double hit stand, I think. And the unfortunate curse with hit stand players is sometimes they just want to go the hit stand on the hit stand maps and ego the other DPS. Ugg and Wi-Fi, I think, particularly Ugg, looking a bit too much for the CXX kind of 1v1. It's just a really common behavior I see from hit stand players. Camdits actually, I don't think they have the damage to show it. Yes, they do. And Ugg finally hits that shot, and that's the important fight when it's finished. Nano as well, and Noble Steed. Just as I was saying, they needed to swap it. They had just enough ultimates to go against their comp disadvantage. What do I know about Overwatch, by the way? What do I know? I'm just talking shit.
I'm sorry. I don't want to flame, and I don't want to sound like I'm flaming, but
flame me.
Why are they so overextended? Like their team is nowhere close. Like no one is close. 4 people on payload.
Cam was very deep there.
I don't quite understand why. I mean, you're gonna get slapped. You're gonna get antied. You're gonna get vortexed. You're gonna get walled. I feel like they should have some miscommunication, a form of miscommunication, and you gotta shake it off. You cannot let this be the way that your game ends. We're gonna still stick onto the Maga, and you know what, Jace? I think I don't understand. I think this Widow is not getting as much value as they should be.
I agree. I mean, particularly when like Crow is going to be impossible to one-shot. Agua should barely get one-shot because they're not going to be playing outside of cover. Laser can't get one-shot. So Sorry is like the main person you're going to be headshotting there as the Widow. And then after you do, you can fair enough do pretty big chip damage into Cam, to be fair. Like Cam and Laser can both get chip damage by the headshot once form ends. But I just think ultimately paired with the Sojourn, I just think the Widow doesn't offer enough in the neutral. As I said, Widow is a very feast or famine character. And I think it's a trait of Widow players to sometimes overforce it and play it when you can just give up the ghost and something more confident and assured in the neutral. You want guarantees, you want efficiency. I do anyway. Like, I'm not losing the map because I'm flipping it on my Widowmaker player who hit shots a lot. I absolutely hate that.
Look at Laser though, forcing Wi-Fi out so hard. But now your Bastion is a little bit deep and you gotta help them get out. That nade is gonna do just that. Crow. Really good job from Crow. Noticing, hey, we just gotta go for really early picks. And every early fight win, Jace, turns into a stagger. It turns into someone having to wait to come back and just you're bleeding time out.
Yeah, as I said, like if I'm Noble Steed, I'm not losing the map on my Widowmaker player hitting shots a lot, because that's what it felt entirely reliant on. I understand maybe the long range pressure, the sidelines, or just wants to play because most of you can play something else, I'm sure. If you can play Widow, you can play Widowmaker.
But I think you need a lot of sustained damage to force the Maga not to be able to engage on you. And look at this, Laser is back in the sky. Wi-Fi on Reaper is gonna be able to sustain so much damage. Oh my god, ugh! Yeah, sniping Agua is really good, and it's gonna force Cam out.
Laser just killed two in the back.
Laser is not forced out. They do not care if their support is there, because all they need is the damage reduction from that Bastion form, and you're still 2 people down. You're still engaging though. Noble Steed definitely feeling a little bit desperate, but it doesn't matter. Good job. Picking off both DPS is gonna give them enough time to try and set up a play.
Quite even so far. 50 seconds left means these ultimates are pretty much going to be the last ones that we see Noble Steed run this in. So now, Noble Steed is going to be a really hard push. Are they going to touch this? This could be a potentially crazy punish if Odin
going for a touchdown. Look at this, going for the Sky Deadeye. No one is going to that. Or yes, Austin dies! Dying on Ana is definitely not what you want, playing so together, but what can you do there to survive? Nothing. The Suri hit the shot. You need to hit these. Yes, 1, 2. A combo is going to find out PJ. 2 people down for the side of Odin, but honestly, you still have Maga Cage, and you have Maga, most importantly, into Sky.
This was so risky. This was so risky from Odin. This was so risky from Odin, and they ult dump, but they potentially have the option to play against the ramp, the natural advantage of the map, but they don't want to risk it. The fight is now Noble Steed has to push to the payload, and their ultimate space.
Wi-Fi's looking for clutch, and Wi-Fi does manage to touch 1 second ticking, but now there's just so many things. Yes, the Great Cage is gonna make it impossible to live, or that's what you would think. Nano's coming out, getting so low on the side of Austin. Can you live through this engage? I don't think so. Look at that, Laser going down. Dishonesty has been punished in BPL, everyone. Sorry. Trying to pick up the Wi-Fi. Austin going down, getting dealt by this Maga. He's going to turn into a dead tank. Is it enough though? 3 people down for the side of Odin. 4! And that's gonna be it.
Odin killed like 3 in this last fight, but Odin, they gamble and they go with the strength and the endurance, the courage of gods. And yeah, the Greek god, the All-Father himself looked down at them with a mighty smile, and they are favoured, they are rewarded by the deities, going for that brave fight at the end there. So I think that was a close call, a risky call to stomp that late and go for the killing rush. Budge actually did quite well on Sojourn once they swapped, but ultimately I think their Widow presence on the first point just gave them a little bit too much of a just too much room to climb, right? Too much of a mountain to climb ultimately.
A little bit Odin. Of typing at the end of the map as well. It seems like Noble Steed doesn't appreciate the Cat Bastion combo. And
honestly, you could have banned it at any point.
True.
And we're back. That was the B stream there, showing off a in-progress match. We have our next game for the main stream. Snowdrop against Ametori. This will be an A-League match that we're going to watch. It's going to be the last game of the night. Here I am. I'm back. I'm Mustard. I have Leapfrog over here. Once again, taking you through the final match of the weekend here. And should be a very interesting match. We've had a lot of 2 Overwatches on this broadcast today, so hopefully we can kind of break that trend here.
Yeah, I mean, a super close match between Odin and Noble Steed. I don't know if you guys were watching that one, but that one went the distance, came down to a final overtime push on Circuit Royale. So good stuff to Odin be able to circumvent that. I for sure thought they were going to just wait until overtime, but that confidence was definitely a sure victory for them. So hopefully these teams can kind of bring that same energy to the table. Maybe take us to another final game, to like a one fight scenario. You can see in the standings how much these wins matter for both of the teams. Obviously Odin took that win, so now they're currently 3-0. Ametori could get another W as well and also go 3-0. So obviously a big win for Ametori here is required, but same thing with Snowdrop. They're 0-2. They're looking for their first win. They've got a couple maps under their belt, but they're still looking for that first win of the season.
Indeed. And for Ametori, right, if they come out of here with a clean 2-0 win, they also will put themselves ahead of Odin, so they will be in the first place spot in the standings. So if the season ended today, kind of thing. Of course, anything can still happen, especially for these teams who, let's get into these teams a little bit more, learn a bit more about them. Snowdrop, we have Turget, Star Potato, LCS, Luca, Kairos, Poyo, and Osiren. And this is the team that's fighting for their first win in the season.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of these players before. Again, that's just going to be a common theme amongst most of these teams, most of these players. They've just been around for a long time. They're here for a reason. Pachimari has always been taking care of people. I've been watching for a couple years now, and I know for a lot of these players, they're in the same boat. They like to compete, and this unique draft system definitely helps bring a lot of familiar and newer faces to the league, but then obviously keep those people that have been around for a while and keep them here. So Snowdrop, they're still, again, like looking for that first win of the season. And let's take a look at Ametori. Same thing with them. I feel like they've been, same familiar faces, but also some new faces, but also wants to stay undefeated.
Of course, Frostfire, Essel, Stella Luna, Matt Berger, Simsif, Cry, and Illuminous. And, I might be Unk, but a lot of these names definitely newer in my head. Cry, one of the goats of observing production in the back lines, in kind of the back rooms, as Luminous as well. Kind of been around for a lot of seasons. Professional yapper even in some of these situations, but been a solid player all around. And I think that does show with Ametori kind of in that commanding, right, like 2-0 number 1 seed. And even if we want to just kind of look, if we can, at like the history, kind of the match histories of both these teams right now, right? If you are Snowdrop, you only played 3 games up until this point. You've lost 3 times if we include the kickoff tournament as well. Your 4th appearance, and whereas for Ametori, they went all the way to the finals. Did eventually lose, but did playing those matches, having a lot more experience, a lot more time together, and currently just rolling in their group. So definitely, maybe that's the experience showing, but for Snowdrop, a lot is on the line. They need, this is the time to prove yourself.
Yeah, now's the time. If you can get this, seriously, if Snowdrop can take their first win of the season, you see their first 2 games still going the distance, even against Odin, who we saw, just a moment ago on the B stream. If they could take their first win here against Ametori, that would be a huge win for them and a huge blow for the Ametori fans as well, because then you pretty much relinquish that potential number 1 spot you were looking and alluding to as well. And Colosseo, man, this map in particular, this push map is the bane of a lot of people's existence.
That is true. I mean, Colosseo is one of the maps of all time, I will say. We do have Surabasa going after that. If we go to this, we'll go to Circuit Royale. And if we somehow end up with the draw in our hands, Oasis will be the determinant. Of course, I don't think we'll get a spectacular 5-map first to 2. As much as I would love to see that. So no 5th map in that sense. Snowdrop will be banning the Sojourn. They are the higher siege, so they do get that first ban, being on the left side of that match screen earlier.
So now, what does Ametori want to ban with? I know we've seen a lot of teams typically go for targeted bans on specific tanks and stuff like that, and I feel like this is going to be no different either. I feel like they're going to probably look towards maybe what LCS likes to primarily play, considering they're the only tank on the team, and just ban them upright. No, instead they're going to just go for the ban on the Lucio. So maybe trying to slow things down a little bit. I was already talking about that last match. Potentially we'd see some Cat Bastion. Maybe we might see it here as well.
Yeah, I feel like on Coliseum might not be as easy to get away with the Cat Bastion, right? Like you don't really have as many open sight lines. Maybe if we get to maybe like Circuit Royale, perhaps. But you know, with that speed out of the picture, that is a potential attractive option for teams. I personally do not think Cat Bastion is good on this map in particular. But you know, if you're able to play around it really well, I think you can make anything happen. Again, with BPL, right? Like we're all here. We're at the end of the day, we're all playing for fun. So sometimes, you know, we might not need to be playing the meta. We might not need to be playing the best characters in the game. But you know, we lean into what we're comfortable on. We lean into our strengths, and that's how we walk away with wins. So we'll see how these teams adapt. I do think the Sojourn and Lucio bans are, fairly blanket bans. Both teams probably, looking to change up how Coliseo's normally played. If you were to, load this up without any bans, you're probably going to see a Sojourn. You're probably going to see a Lucio. So.
Well, I think you severely underestimate how determined people are with the Cat Bastion, because I know if it was me, I'm just going to full send it regardless. So hopefully we can see some of that. We haven't seen any of that tonight here on the mainstream. We saw it a little bit earlier on the when Odin was playing, but yeah, again, just doing if you're not too sure what to ban, I think going for that blanket style, just generic ban on the Sojourn, the Lucio, hell, even the Shion's been seeing a lot more popularity. Those are great bans, because now you're kind of forcing your opponents to kind of play into your role, forcing them to play into a composition that you can control, you can dictate. And with Coliseum, that's definitely what you want to do. Get that early lead and keep control throughout the entire time bank.
That pizza does look pretty good. Maybe I'm just hungry. It is dinner time for me. We load into Coliseo. We do have, whoa, maybe a little early. Wait. There we go. There's the team comps. So we are seeing a Reinhardt appearance.
Nah, it isn't real. It isn't real. It's a figment of my imagination. Until it says go and they start going for the push bot, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah, looks like it'll probably stay given the time. Looks like we're going to walk out on the Reinhardt. I'm excited. I haven't casted Reinhardt gaming in a while.
Yeah, you missed it earlier. Biscuit and I got to see Turgen go crazy on the Reinhardt, so let's see if LCS can do the same. Matt Berger going for the more poke style comp with the Sigma, but matching the supports all together. Kiriko and Juno. Let's get it. Yeah.
Reinhardt taking the space with the rectangle. The rectangle man himself going to be pinning straight in. Accretion not in play, so kind of a free space to be given by from LCS. Luca gonna get a pick on Essel, and Stella Luna going down early there in the fight means that Snowdrop just have a free ticket to walk on Ametori. That will be a clean first fight win for Snowdrop. And again, that Reinhardt, I mean, skeptical as it is, it looks like they're practiced on it.
Hey, it's working out. It's already got that first win on the board, and that's what you need. You win multiple fights to kind of keep this push bot going. Getting that early lead doesn't mean a whole lot, because again, we have a full 10-minute time bank that you got to go through. Turget getting really low, as well as LCS. Suzu being utilized, so now they're going to have to fully back out of this fight with Essel going over to the Bastion. A lot of damage on the table.
God, what a pin. And it's going to be the MTD for LCS. Getting a clean pin on the Matt Berger, probably caught with his pants down a little bit. No accretion or anything like that to stop Reinhardt. Turget will go down eventually. I do want to mention though, Essel swapping to the Bastion for the Reinhardt.
Yeah, just trying to chunk down either the shield or the tank themselves. But you can see 2 minutes down, already getting this first checkpoint. It's a great start for Snowdrop. And look at all the utility that we have, and the resources that we can actually utilize here. Kitsune Rush super early on from Luca. Illuminous might be able to build up to theirs if they can sustain.
Yeah, Illuminous will probably get it here. Might not choose to use it just yet. I mean, this Kitsune Rush, no one pushing the bot. So there's not too much value to be gained. I guess you get the space, but it's just going to be lost again as Luminous pops that Kitsune Rush. the orbital ray coming out in response to the gravitic flux, but it does not matter. All the damage is there. Kairos with the Satsuki spree, but not gonna get anything from it as Matt Burger just has the kinetic grasp in his face. Poyo will get his one. Get a cheeky little kill there. Oh,
wow,
great accretion.
that was sick rock. Big dap up to my man Matt Burger, but it's unfortunate. It was a clutch Suzu from Luca, but it was not enough to keep their team sustained. And again, that was the only bad thing, right? Wow, early shatter getting wrecked.
Yeah, the momentum from Juno's jump does allow her to kind of fall behind the wall, so no value from the shatter.
I knew.
I don't think they got. Wait. I don't think they got the bot past that middle point, so the forward spawns are still around for now.
Trade on DPS. Essel actually falling. This is bad for Ametori because now they don't have any type of damage unless Stella Luna wants to do all the damage themselves. Matt Burger assisting as well, so no more support for Snowdrop. So all this damage does become permanent, and yeah, that's gonna be a team wipe for them. They do get it past the halfway point. You made a good point to it, and that's why they were able to, make that reattempt on the point so fast and so quickly, despite not having a Lucio.
Indeed, Matt Burger here. I'm just trying to take this forward space. LCS walking forward probably at the behest of his team, who is just now respawning. This gravitic flux is going to have to be huge for Matt Burger. It's really the biggest ultimate here. It does not even need it. Clean accretion onto target. Might choose to use it to clean up the fight, as things have kind of reached a little bit of a slowdown.
Yeah, at that point, it's kind of hard for them. They lost their power position. The Sigma on the high ground, just a thorn in their side. Stella Luna also just completely lighten up the kill feed with some more picks. Looking for more as we hunt down the last support. And Poyo again, just somehow catching every single ability, whether that be a rock or a motorcycle to the dome piece.
Yeah, the flux going to be invested now. I believe that was a collect from Luca invested a little early. Mapper does not catch anyone, though. A great hit from LCS onto the turreting Bastion. The ult there just kind of stationary. I guess it does make an easy pin target, but giving up your life for it might not be super worth it. The respawns are quick, as when you get the initial cap, you will spawn immediately, and Turget takes full advantage. But
then all of a sudden, Turget just goes absolutely sicko mode and gets some 2 glorious picks all by themselves. LCS swapping over to the Doomfist. And now look at the support ults that we have. We can go crazy and just fight early on or just kind of stagger the points some more.
Speaking of support ults, we're going to get a trade of Kitsune rushes, so the dogs are out on both these teams. Not too much to be had just yet, but some space to be taken. And Stella Luna with a great position, great pick on the Luca. We'll use the spree. Gonna try to run down Poyo. Will get the kill onto the Juno eventually, and the rest of Snowdrop just gonna trickle out or trickle to the spawn room.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we're going to have to try to find a way to start protecting our supports a little bit better, because, I mean, that's another, I think maybe 3rd or 4th fight in a row where the supports on Snowdrop actually fall first. And when you lose your your sustain like that, you have a very little chance to be able to get back into it. Poyo popping orbital ray as well, but still winds up falling, gets the trade off into the backline. Stella Luna popping motorcycle straight into the hearts, and it looks like Ametori finally going to get the lead back in their favor.
Not quite though. LCS and Luca holding on. The flux from Matt Burger trying to get the Doomfist. Doesn't quite catch him there though. As Soul pleading for his life, but he will just get staggered in the end. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is what you call a commentator's curse for sure. I mean, a really late flex from Matt Burger to try to chunk down the LCS Doomfist. Not able to get him this time, or the last time, but able to get him this time with the clutch rock from downtown. Buying the levitation has been helping out a ton, because he's able to get to these spots where you don't normally see a Sigma normally pressure on.
Yeah, Matt Burger just took this high ground like he was playing, as if he was playing Winston. Like, he's just here, taking this space with the shield as well. Might as well be the scientist from the lunar colony, as he is trying to walk forward now. Ultimates for Snowdrop pretty solid with the get out of jail free card for LCS. Luca gonna find a pick on Essel. It's gonna force that orbital ray to be popped. Turget in the back line gets a kill onto Illuminous. Things are getting traded every which way, but at the end of the day, the robot has been stolen. LCS looking to run the bot away, and should just be a reset for Ametori.
I mean, these fights are so scrappy, and again, Matt Burgers has been taking advantage of the levitate, utilizing some of this Y-axis, and just jumping onto these high grounds, playing the aggressor, just going for the hearts like a Winston player normally would. We do have the Meteor Strike for LCS, so maybe he could play a little aggressive here, going straight to the back line. And again, Essel has been the #1 target on the side of Ametori.
Yeah, but Ametori have 4 ult online. There is the Meteor Strike, just as the get out of jail free, the reposition card. Luca might have to pop the Kasuni Rush if they want any chance to equalize this fight whatsoever. And they're gonna go in, go aggressive. Stella Luna does have the spree, choosing to bide her time a little bit. Gonna be waiting just a tad. Does get the pick on LCS eventually, and there is a spree going straight into the back line. Gonna find one, looking to get another kill on Poyo. But the Juno does stay alive, but might just get stagger killed here.
Yeah, essentially I was gonna say a nice little team wipe. No way. Oh my goodness, he almost hit the crazy rock again. Dude, Matt Burger, I would have freaked out if he hit that, my man. But we still have Graphitic Flex again. Still, you know, working on the deficit. Only a meter deficit between the two. But Illuminous winds up falling. And here we go, Graphitic Flex again. No dice. Haven't found anything with Graphitic Flux. Orbital Strike as well on the point. Just trying to keep this 1 meter lead in their favor. Matt Burger not able to survive. And guess what? They still maintain the lead with a minute to go.
Oh my goodness. LCS, I mean, pulling out some heroics there at the very start of the fight, getting 2 crucial picks on the Ametori, and, you know, just making sure that even with the Flux hit, like, you can't turn that fight.
I think he punched Matt Burger out of his Flux as well, so it made sure that his ultimate is nullified entirely. Essel swapping over to the Genji, maybe trying to chunk down the last bit of people. Because again, Matt Burger taking control of this high ground, he's the only one able to get up there really, besides like the Kiriko, but not really a character you want to play with. Is the support going for the back line. Everybody getting super low, but now both DPS ults ready for Snowdrop.
Indeed, but can they pilot this to a win, especially with LCS just taking so much damage? Snowdrop forced to concede some space here, but is rolling. This will be the final fight if Snowdrop were able to come out victorious. The High Noon! Oh, the punch! Matt Burger not able to stay in the safety of his shield. Kairos will go down though, so no Satsuki spree, but Stella Luna will have one of their own. Does get a kill on the target. I don't think he needed the spree for it. That one after with a slash on the Poyo. Oh, the Kasuni Rush comes out. It might have gotten canceled though. I think Illuminous died before the cooldown, before the animation completed. Essel running this robot. The rest of Snowdrop a lot.
Slowly recapture's over. They have to.
Yeah, there's spree. There's a spree coming out from Kairos. Not gonna find anyone. Cry will eventually go down, but the orbital ray is already on the objective and making its presence known.
Not
Essel. Yeah, no health pack there for Illuminous, just for the speed to return to this objective. Someone else has to get on it to keep the overtime going, but no one on Ametori is around. Snowdrop with a commanding 1-0, putting them in the driver's seat to get their first win of the season.
Unbelievable start to this series already. Snowdrop, I mean, coming out super flashy, starting off on the Reinhardt and then pulling up with the Doomfist to keep that 1 meter lead. That's all that mattered in this entire set. They got the checkpoint. They could have not gotten the checkpoint. It only came down to a single meter on who won that map. So great stuff to start off for Snowdrop. Looking still for their first win of the season, and this is exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nail biter. I think Snowdrop doing a great job of just cycling in and out, stalling that objective for as long as they can, just keeping these engagements long and drawn out. Because when you have the Doomfist, you know, you favor those scrappy engagements. You want to go in, you want to get aggressive, you want to have fun, you want to start fighting like that. And you know, at the end of the day, the chaos works out for Snowdrop. I will highlight though, for Ametori, I mean, the DPS line, like finding picks, pick after pick after pick, especially Stella on Xion, just somehow, some way, somehow, always finding an angle, always getting a way in. I mean, it's just, I mean, you need to shut that down, I think, looking forward to the next map.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy to think about. I mean, imagine going 27-4 and still losing. I mean, that's gotta sting a little bit. But again, you need to have goldfish memory when it comes into these first of 2 series, because again, it can go really fast. I mean, you saw how many 2-0 Overwatches have happened tonight already. You can't let that happen to you. You can't let that happen to your team. You got to kind of just hone in, focus on what you guys were doing correctly, because I feel like they were playing very, very well, but there were just so many scrappy fights, so many disheveled opponents that if you kind of honed in and focused in on one fight, only 1 meter was all that took to actually secure that map.
Yeah, I mean, again, that 1 meter Snowdrop, like they held onto it with their dear life. And it paid off very well in the end, right? They didn't need to win any fights to kind of have to storm it back. And yeah, with that, right, they roll into that win. I will say I loved the Reinhardt from LCS. You know, no Lucio in play. Playing the Rectangle Man for the love of the game. I want to see that again on Survasa. Maybe we'll get to see it again. Maybe we won't. I mean, I was impressed running with the Reinhardt gameplay. So, I mean, yeah, you had the Juno speed rank, but like that's not that much, right? Like at the end of the day, you want that Lucio speed for that constant engagement, for getting in and getting out. Maybe we'll see it on Survasa.
I would hope so. We're just trying to contest the tank to the point where LCS forced to swap over to the Doomfist.
Yeah, I mean, I will also note, like, when you ban the Bastion out, that's, you know, like you said, no cap Bastion, like you mentioned earlier, for that first map. But also, if you are riding Reinhardt, Bastion, like, you don't want to see a Bastion on the other team. You just will not be able to play the game. And, you know, just Snowdrop looking to just get that out of the equation. So maybe we'll see a Reinhardt again. Ametori banning Mizuki. I will say, I'm not a big fan of that, especially if we see LCS on Doomfist again. If he chooses to roll out on it, you know, swap to it eventually in the series, or in the map. I will say, like, yeah, Mizuki, a great character at just dealing with any dives. You're super slippery. You have a chain that does 20% damage on that minor perk. It's just so good against dive characters that you might want to have that kind of protection, that flexibility in the backline. And Kekai Sanctuary is just great ultimate. After the recent changes, great ultimate.
Yeah, they made it come up a little bit more often. So now, I mean, basically it nerfed into oblivion because now you can't even touch them. So I would imagine with that, the Mizuki band, I would think that they're going to try to go for like a dive style comp, right? I saw Matt Berger swap to Diva at the tail end of that first map, so wouldn't surprise me if we go back to maybe the dive centric play style. Essel had a Genji in his back pocket, and this is a great time to do it, especially on Survasa. You want to play aggressive, you want to kind of go straight for the heart of the team, and then that way you can get that early point control. Percentages are going to tick a whole lot faster. So let's see if they can find a equalizer point, or if they're going to suffer their first loss of the season.
Flashpoint is always fun because I think it tests the flexibility and the cohesion of any team. You need to be nimble, you need to be quick on your feet, and you have to make adaptations really quick. Because if you get steamrolled, a 3-0 in Survasa, or really any Flashpoint map, is just like, you're done with the game. It's not even going to be 5 minutes.
Ready for battle.
Okay. Again, shout outs to my boy Mustard for holding down the mic, and all of our observers, and of course our producers for making it reality. Can't make it happen without you guys, and you guys are pulling an all-nighter. And we got 2 streams up. You guys are the GOATs. Keep it going. Keep us alive for one more map. Please, I beg of you.
Oh yeah, we got some alligator action here.
4, 3.
Starting off our match on a high note. There it is. The Reinhardt is back. The Rectangle Man has returned.
Mustard, we are so back. I would dap you up if you're right next to me, but I'll settle for a virtual dap up. But here we go. Matt Berger staying on the Diva for sure, as well as Stella Luna back on the Xion. I thought that was a focal point for their team, making these comebacks definitely possible. But now with the big Rectangle Man fighting his way onto the points, it's going to be a tough time getting him off.
Yeah, Snowdrop not even opting to play Lucio despite the character being unbanned. We'll stick to the Juno for that. Probably for the speed rank, for the extra healing, for that mobility. Star Potato on May, Turget on Cass. This is a classic rush composition that we're seeing here. And the May, I mean, going to be very dangerous against that Diva. And I was going to say all the other DPS on the team, as LCS does get a pick onto Essel, but immediately traded out. Turget only down for Snowdrop.
This actually might be
potentially turnable, yeah, but you don't have a tank if you're Ametori. Madburger, as we see kind of in the spawn room now. You still have a lot of healing from the Juno despite losing your Kiriko, so it's still not a bad position for Snowdrop. Ametori playing patiently.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to do. You can't give up any picks. You see LCS immediately when he got low, he went for a pin and canceled it, just held back for a little bit. And that's what you need to do. You have the point control. You have the HP that you can kind of sustain. Just sit on the point. No big ultimates coming up quite yet. I mean, we might see an orbital ray from Poyo early on, unless Turjet wants to pop theirs first. And Essel going over to the Sierra, big damage on the table. And Trailblazer going to come out right off the rip.
Yeah, it's going to force him off the point, but the Kitsune Rush from Snowdrop. Luca just going to look to get involved and get something done just to walk onto the point. Snowdrop now in control of the objective, both in the game and in terms of the space taken. Ametori needs to contest if they want any chance of turning this, but with 3 members down, they're just going to look to go back to the spawn room, and they're going to go to that next point.
Yeah, going to the next point, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Snowdrop again. They're playing super tight niche, and with access to all these crucial ultimates and abilities, everybody needs to be on point, and so far they're doing it very, very well. Ametori, a little spread out quite a bit, so you see Mattburger giving up on the D.Va, going over to the Orisa, just kind of force everybody to play together, and with access to a couple ultimates themselves, this definitely could help turn things.
I agree. Illuminous going to open things up with a Kitsune Rush of his own. High Noon to counter the Shatter as well, just to try to prevent any forward momentum. And it's going to be good as Stella Luna walk all over during the spree. The Blizzard does catch the supports on the side, but they won't get taken out. I don't think it's really younger with there. Essel trying to get it. Oh my god! LCS eventually booped off the map. That Trailblazer comes out once again. Cry, getting a nice little sneaky one on a Poyo on the exit. Snowdrop did get the initial cap, but Ametori are going to be able to flip it.
I thought he was going to wind up surviving there, but got booped out the very last second. Unfortunate. But yeah, Cry getting a cheeky little double kill with the environmental hazards. And it's weird to see that the Lucio, was banned from Ametori at the start. And it feels like they've been really benefiting off of that. And now they're going to have to try to survive without any of their support ultimates. Luca maybe having enough to build up to another Kitsune Rush. But either which way, LCS is still going to play just as aggressive.
I mean, with how much poke everyone's taking, Luca might be able to do it. Poyo does get taken out, though. Can't get poked too much. Now no supports for Snowdrop, meaning that they are just going to drop. And
yeah, you see, again, this Orisa swap, I feel like has been paying dividends. My bad, Mustard. But Mattburger just been playing very confident, very aggressive, and now taking advantage of the lack of mobility that LCS, doesn't have access to.
Yeah, Snowdrop might be able to touch this. They might need to throw a body onto the objective if they want to. So this will have to be very messy, very scrappy, and probably not the engagement they were looking for. 99%. They will get the touch eventually. Kitsune Rush comes out from Luca to try to keep things going for Snowdrop. LCS probably just fighting to try to get the Shatter, but that will be a terror surge right in your face. Turkey goes down. Cry will get traded out for it, but at the end of the day, your Reinhardt's pinned in, and there's no one to hold the front lines anymore. Ametori will equalize, and they will tie up this flashpoint.
Okay. Now, the only fear I have with this, Mustard, as much as I love seeing the Reinhardt, are we going to try to force it? I'm kind of worried about, trying to stick with the Reinhardt for a little too long. I don't want to call Doom and Gloom too early on because this is only the 3rd point, but you can see once Mattburger has access to both of his perks, it's going to be very telling whether or not we're going to be able to see the Reinhardt success here.
Yeah, but LCS does get a smidgen of mobility back, right? Ryan does get the shield bash as on the major perk, which is probably what you're looking for if you are LCS. There is the High Noon from Turget just to zone everyone off from that Trailblazer. A great Shatter. The Kitsune Rush comes out for Illuminous just to try to turn things in his favor, but Stella Luna out of the fight. A lot of damage gone. You try your best if you're Mattburger, but you can't even enter this objective. You'll just get pinned right after the Fortify is up. Try just trying to stall out some time. Snowdrop will get the first cap.
Oh, well, I did see a very last second orbital ray from Poyo, so it's kind of unfortunate, but, we'll still have at least, your abilities they can work off of. The Satsuriki spree coming up for Stella Luna. She's looking to obviously go straight for the backline, getting some people low, and then try to ult to clean them up.
Yeah, and you know, just a textbook Xion gameplay there. We'll see if you can even find an opening. This might be the moment.
Yeah, I can see him hunting, prowling for the back line, and here we go.
There it is.
It's go time. Poyo forced to run.
But straight on to Poyo, doesn't get the kill in the ultimate, but will eventually confirm it with some primary fires. The beat from Cry just to allow Ametori to get up and aggressive. And on the Madburger, the eventual hit connection onto the tank. And the rest of Snowdrop just opted in the reset. And Ametori will walk out with a fight win.
Right. That's who we needed, but unfortunately this is Flashpoint, so even though it's 80%, that will become a one-fight situation. LCS giving up the Reinhardt, going over to the Zarya, and that's what I was hoping for. Just something so you can actually help chunk down. You don't have a whole lot of big damage, but Zarya, you know, beams right through any type of resources you got.
Yeah, great bubble usage here from LCS. They're gonna walk out with that high noon. Turkic zoning everyone off. That cowboy so fast, just walking forward. Continuing rush from Illuminous to counter, but it will just get matched straight away. Star Potato with the Tatsuchi spree, not gonna get anything. Neither does the Terra Surge. Star Potato goes down, so already a lot of damage out of the picture for Snowdrop, but a high charge Zarya walking straight at your Orisa is never good. Ametori will be forced to invest. The Trailblazer doesn't get anything, as the rest of Snowdrop will just be on cleanup duty now, as we see Stella Luna and Illuminous, the last two to fall.
And fall they will. Snowdrop taking the lead back into their favor. Again, a last-minute swap for LCS to go over to the Zarya, and that's exactly what they needed to kind of chunk down Madburger. And just like that, they're going to match the Zarya, but here we go. One more point for Snowdrop to get their first win of the season and deliver a first loss for Ametori.
Oh my god, we saw it on the overhead. Essel just absolutely eviscerated. And that's going to be the go button for Snowdrop. There is the Zarya mirror, as was mentioned very briefly. So Madburger making that swap. And now we see just, you know, Snowdrop going to be claiming this space. They should get this cap, but I mean, Ametori might contest.
You know, I mean, they do have a couple of ultimates coming up here with the Lucio beat. Maybe they might be able to build up to enough to a Kitsune rush before this point is even capped. Just as I say that, Poyo going to be able to help secure the point. They got the cap down.
Oh my god. Public enemy number one. Stella Luna popping the spree, gets grabbed, runs straight into the orbital ray. I mean, not a lot you can do if you are Xion there.
Well, that's great, because, you know, Luna, she was able to bait out, you know, two big ultimates, the Orbital Ray and the Graviton, just off of that one ultimate. So now you're going to be able to utilize it themselves, unless you walk into the high noon. Beat comes out from Cry just in the nick of time, but just like that, they were able to 180 turn that fight. Luca falls super low, but not able to run away from their inevitable fate, and that's going to be point back over into Ametori's favor.
Indeed. Poyo dying a little bit late, so gonna have to wait a couple more seconds on not catching that earlier respawn wave. LCS back on the Reinhardt now that he's forced Madburger off of Orisa.
Yeah, baby, let's go. LCS, just keep it trucking, keep on believing in that Reinhardt. I'm sure you'll make it work, but here we go. Grab, accessible, potentially. I just don't know who you're gonna try to target in this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a little difficult, especially now. Trailblazer does go out. Target absolutely exploded. Grab comes through. It doesn't hit anyone, but LCS eventually walking into it. Continuing rushes on both teams, but Ametori's a little bit later and a little bit better.
I love how Madburger hit him with the OMG Raptor. It's like, oops, and then wind up blowing themselves up. But again, this is great for Ametori. They're going to try to tie things up. I don't know if they're going to be able to make that touch in time. You see Reinhardt immediately sprinting over, but only having access to the single, you know, speed ring is not going to be able to enough to get you to a point right away.
Oh yeah, they should have enough space to touch. Madburger dying a little bit later in that fight means that the Zarya not quite in position to be able to contest. Star Potato will get taken out, will get ran over by the opposing Xion, and Snowdrop get the flip. So that's honestly good news, even if you end up losing this fight.
Yeah, if they can, I mean, again, if they can somehow find a way to scavenge together a win, they wind up turning this fight. Stella Luna sprays back to the back line, gets rid of target, both supports, running for the hills, and so is the Reinhardt. Reinhardt falls, and Ametori battle it out. They somehow found a way to circumvent the Reinhardt swap, and take us to a final point. Again, it still comes down for the series point on this last objective.
Yeah, I mean, for Snowdrop, to be honest, like making that swap onto Reinhardt, kind of pivoting your playstyle a little bit, it's kind of your point to lose at that rate, right? You need some time to kind of build up the momentum that Ametori would have already had, right, with their ultimate economy. So it is not too devastating for them overall. Trailblazer open things up for Ametori.
Here we go. Poyo having access to the orbital ray. Ryan has shatter. I mean, we got so many ultimates. Target gonna be the first one to pop clears. High Noon not able to find anything. Perfectly timed Suzu from Illuminous. And Cry, she's got to be big with this beat as well. We're working on 90% and orbital ray kind of securing the fountain for now. And Turgate getting the last second pick onto Essel.
Yeah, and LCS might be looking for these staggers, might be looking for a clean shatter here to try to catch the rest of Ametori off guard. But they're going to kite away. And again, the shatter's going to have to be big. Cry not quite at the beat yet, but she probably will get it before anything can happen. I'm interested to see in the Kitsune Rush values. Since both of them, up at the same time, whose will be better?
Yeah, I think they're just going to try to put it straight onto the objective. Maybe they're trying to take over the high ground. They actually do try to take over the high ground. Shatter finds a connection. Beam in the last second from Cry. She comes in clutch once again to keep their team alive. But the fight is already won for them, it looks like. The DPS come up clutch. Again, the girlies getting the picks on the point. LCS have to go straight to the point with the shield up and nothing but they can do except just contest and get some extra percentage on the board. 80% makes it a one-fight win scenario. But is it too late for them? Now Matt Berger has some really decent charge, has access to the grab, and look at these ultimates on the side of Ametori.
Snowdrop have some time to build up their own ultimates, especially their DPS ults should be pretty easy. Poyo should be getting an orbital ray before the map is done. So not a bad position for Snowdrop, especially if you can lose this fight right now, baiting out ultimates. I think you have a very solid shot to that last fight.
Okay, grab, maybe build up, match it with the spree potentially. Jumping back, you see everybody getting super low. Everybody getting terrified of the spree straight to the back line. Snowdrop, everybody's so low, but everybody's surviving. Oh boy, and another Trailblazer on the point, but not gonna be able to survive. Gets the trade off in time. Grab at the last second to put up.
Oh, my Turget is stuck.
Oh no!
My Turget is stuck. 3v2 now for Ametori with the supports and tank versus the tank and a Kiriko.
Yeah, and they're just staggering him, just keeping him. Honestly, LCS surviving really well. For the fact that he can touch that orbital by himself.
There's no
He's really close to a shatter as well. So this could be the fight determiner. One ult to rule them all.
Yeah, LCS with a big shatter here will end things for Ametori if they're not careful. Oh, cool. It's going to be Zarba on the ground. Beat not in time. Illuminous with a Kitsune rush just to try to equalize. Not going to be finding any value from it though, but they will keep stalling things out. Luca going to have one of his own. Going to be walking forward. LCS does go down eventually, but Luca with two. Going to be humongous for Snowdrop, and they will be claiming this point. They will be claiming the map, and they will be getting their first win of the season.
Yeah, delivering a devastating blow for Ametori. They were looking for that win to not only, stay undefeated, but then also take over that #1 seeded spot. But again, you have to focus on the opponent in front of you because these guys are not ones to play with. You can't underestimate any opponent here in the A-League. Everybody is playing on all cylinders and going with the Reinhardt play of all characters to actually make it work.
Yeah, just simply amazing from Snowdrop. I don't think any of us could have seen that coming. Just coming out the gates, Reinhardt pick, surprising the world and making it work. That's what you love to see, especially to make that statement first win of the season.
I mean, wow. I mean, you want to talk about clutch supports, Poyo and Luca just absolutely keeping their entire team afloat. I mean, I thought that fight was over the moment that grab came out and Turgate was just kind of dangling up in the sky with his high noon. I thought it was just going to be over and it was going to be a wrap, so we're going to go to a map 3, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just came in clutch. So never doubt your supports. You always got to make sure you keep an eye out for them because they never know when they can keep your that last minute Suzu, that last minute beat is always enough to help, turn the tides of the fight.
Yeah, we're like looking at the scoreboard of the second map. It is insane the stat difference and that somehow Snowdrop comes out on top of it. Ametori does fall down to 2-1. They're still sitting pretty at second though, so not a complete wash, of course. 4-3 map differential puts them in a pretty solid spot, kind of setting themselves up for the end of the season. Snowdrop, with that dominant win, rockets them straight into the middle ranks. But they are at 1-2, so they do need to win their next few matches to try to bring themselves back up and sit pretty for the postseason.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out the stats because Poyo that last match had 20,000 healing. I mean, that's insane for that gigabanger of a match. But of course, we got to talk about the gigabanger himself. Our MVP of the night, LCS. Let's go.
Yeah, can't say anything more than watching good old-fashioned, honest Overwatch. Rectangle Man coming out the gate. Dominant start on Colosseo. Eventually forced to kind of swap off it for a little bit. Still amazing performance on Doomfist. Staying alive, finding picks, canceling ultimates, letting them hold on to that 1 meter lead. Fast forward a little bit, we're on Cervasa. We're getting these crazy survivals, crazy engages. Rectangle Man again, big shatter after big shatter. Sure, you have to swap off a little bit, get him bullied a little too hard. You gotta bully him back. All right, swap into the Zarya, but still doing a great job, and then straight back to Reinhardt, back to his roots, just to claim the win.
That first map was I was really impressed with the positioning that he had, but then that second map, the decision making is what really set him apart on that particular point. I mean, being able to just contest that point, I would have just backed up, relinquished all that space to give your team time to regroup and recontest on that overtime. But for his decision making to just duke it out, just keep swinging on point, add some extra damage to the mix is what really helped their team secure the victory. So big shout outs to LCS. Do you know what LCS stands for?
No, not in this context at least. Definitely not the League of Legends Championship Series, so definitely not the right LCS.
You never know. Maybe he's a big league player. I mean, playing Reinhardt, he's definitely got to have that toxic mentality, so it definitely could still be there.
Yeah, potentially. Not too sure though. But what I do know is that we're gonna wrap things up here for our last match of the night. If we want to maybe take us through all the action that has happened today. But still two Overwatch on this broadcast. All 2-0s all across the board. With Caladrius, Hidden King, Yatagarasu, and Snowdrop coming out on top of their matches today. At least on the A stream, and some of the off stream matches also were a little, we had some shakeups in our off stream matches today. If we were to take a quick peek at those, Chosen versus Free Fall, 2-0 there, but Elvish Soul Knife getting a 2-1 and Odin getting a 2-1 means that there were, not 2 Overwatch all day. Blue Rose versus Night Wings off stream was a 2-0 for Blue Rose. So that's all the action for the weekend. We had a lot of games today, a lot of games on the Sunday. Again, as usual, BPL, we're here every week in the season. That is going to be kind of wraps for this week. I believe that's all the games we have for you today and for the weekend. Remember, come back here. There is a Monday game, I think. So there is a reschedule happening. So there will be more action. Maybe you'll see a surprise stream if we get enough people on board for that. But all Tuesday actually. But all things considered, that means that the weekend's coverage has ended. We're actually past the halfway point of the season. All these teams now playing already a majority of the regular season matches. Will they continue to climb? Will the Titans stay tall? Will the underdogs rise? Guess we gotta find out next week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll be traveling, so I probably won't be here next week. I'm sure Mustard will be there as well, as long as big shout outs to Biscuit and I think it was Luca. No, not Luca. Who is it? Gino. They're coming up clutch for subbing in for last minute casting on that B stream. But either which way, I'm excited. I'm glad to be back here for BPL. Mustard, you got anything planned for next weekend?
I'll probably be here. Maybe I'll be moving. I mean, I'm playing, so I'll be around. But I will say, you should also be around. Drop a follow, and we'll be back with more BPL action this Friday, week 4 of the regular season. Again, things are shaking up. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. Don't want to miss this. You know, teams fighting for their playoff chance. And that's gonna be all from me, I think. Any final remarks?
Nah, man, let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and happy 4th of July. We'll see y'all again next weekend.